What is going on, YouTube and Twitch? How are you all doing, guys? How are you all doing? Welcome back to another Tribe Talks, everybody. How are we? Sopper, Dalton, Kimmy. You all good? I hope you're all good. I really do hope you're all good. What's the happy haps, guys? What is the happy haps? All of England's blood pressure soared high earlier? Yeah, they totally didn't deserve that win. Let's be honest. What's going on, Knight of Knee? How you doing, man? Robbie, how are you? Great to be alive and in the tribe. I hope so. What is going on, Deliver? Thank you so much for the subscription. 3 months, dude. 3 months, man. Thank you so much. How are you? Ding, bing. You're going to change your name to Post-Hut Clarity? I love it. I love it, RJ. Hey, Vin. How you doing, man? Sir Scribble and the Scribe Tribe. Well met, sir. Well met. Hey, MP. How you doing, man? How you doing, MP? CJ. I've been lazy, CJ, is the answer. The answer is I've been lazy. If I could subcontract out uploading the Spotify podcasts for the Tribe Talks, I would. Everybody loves a bit of post-hut clarity. So it's just going to be me and Karth today, guys. Wolfie has got his mother's birthday this weekend. Funnily enough, today was also my mother's birthday. And I'm a little bit drunk. I'm only a little bit drunk, alright? Just a little bit. I hope you won't hold that against me. Let's keep that clear. Yeah, it's only a slow news week, Bodhi. Nothing really happened this week, so... I mean... Go drunk, you're home, or something like that. Exactly. But the thing is, I am home. And I am drunk. So what do we do about that? What do we do about that, guys? Huh? Thank you, music. How you doing, buddy? Go drunker then. I'll tell my mam. Today is mam's birthday. My mam is 62 today. And it is her 24th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Makes it easy to remember these things. It's like mam's birthday, anniversary right after. Hey, RJ, thank you so much for the $2, brother. That's really kind of you, man. Thank you so much. That's really kind, dude. Thank you, man. You get to watch Georgia beat Spain, which is hilarious. Come on, Georgia. Is it Georgia v Spain now? Is Georgia that good at football? I know they're great at arm wrestling. They've got a decent rugby team. They're fantastic at arm wrestling. Didn't know they were good at football. I was out, Deliver. I was out, like I said, started this stream. Today was my mam's birthday, so I was out having dinner and drinks with my mam. Because... I don't know if you know this, guys. I don't know if loyal members of the tribe have noticed this. But your boy Scribble, quite partial to a drink. I quite enjoy the occasional drink or two. Just one or two. Have you guys noticed that? Have you guys noticed that I quite like a drink or two? I'm not sure if that's ever dropped. Hey, Sathi, how you doing? Well, the thing is the reason I quite like a drink or two is because my mother loves a drink. My mum loves to drink. So any occasion... Thank you, RJ, once again. $2 is really, really kind of you, dude. The reason I like to have a drink is because my mum loves a drink. Any occasion with my mum is like, bottle of champagne, get the gin and tonics going, let's have a couple of beers. We were walking home after, we had pre-drinks at her caravan site. We walked to the restaurant. We had drinks there. We had a bottle of wine there and beers. And after we left there, we stopped off at a pub for a pint. And then we came home to go back to the caravan, and we stopped off in a pub for 2 pints. And then we got to the caravan, and she was like, "Do you want to sit down and have a drink?" I was like, "Ma'am, I gotta go. I have a stream. I've got to do my podcast." So you gotta love her. You gotta love her. Oh, thank you, Jay. RJ, that's really kind of you, dude. You love watching the Georgia rugby? So do I, except for when they beat Wales. Then I don't like it. Sounds like a great breakfast. Champagne, G&T, and beer. Cornerstone of every healthy breakfast. Let's jump in the chat, because we got my boy Karth over here. What's going on, Karthy Boo? How you doing, honey? Sorry, your face then. You're like, oh. Hold up, let me get you up on the screen real quick.
I was just entertaining myself while I waited.
Well, in a kosher way, I'm sure.
Yeah, those words.
Totally kosher. Now that's the 4 tribe talks. This is 2 tribe talks, but that's not how I want this to appear. I need big boy Karth on the screen right now, because it's only me and Karthrick. Today is only me and Karthrick, because Wolfie has his mother's birthday as well. So he is not going to be present for today's tribe talks. Unfortunately, Wolfie chose a time within Galaxy of Heroes where there's nothing to talk about at all. Isn't that right, Karth?
Yep, those words.
Oh, look how handsome you look, Karth. Look how handsome. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Look. We got a big boy Karth on the screen right now.
Yeah, I just need to sort out the quality. My camera should be better than that, but it's
Yeah, it's looking okay. It's looking pretty good, I'd say. You're absolutely right. Wolfie did choose poorly to have his mother's birthday today. How dare he choose to have his mother's birthday today? We should have words with him about that, Karth.
We should have all the words about it. We should berate him endlessly about the fact that he chose to do that today.
Booyah. Hey, Karth, speak.
What up, nerd?
What up, nerd? Yep, cool. Just want to make sure that I'm hearing you loud and clear as a flower. While we do that. Is Karth a robot? No, Karth is not a robot. Karth is part man, part machine. And
mostly whale.
and 100% whale.
And that is a fact.
Yep, he's 60% human, 60% machine, 100% whale. He doesn't make the rules, but that's the way that the dice landed. Just saying. Karthrick's got the hair advantage. You're not setting the bar very high. Come on. Have you seen my head? You can probably see your own face in it. It's okay. I'm bald and I'm beautiful.
I'm going to trim it back in a couple of weeks. I'll cut it all back again.
Yeah, I mean, just go all the way. Just get the razor out. Full shave,
Oh,
baby.
I will never shave my head. Oh, that would be... It's one of those things that if you do it all the time, it's fine. But if you don't do it ever... Like, I don't want my head to be itchy for like a week straight.
It does not itch.
The hair regrows.
Your head does not itch.
That's just not true.
It does not itch when you shave your head. It doesn't. Are you saying that my head doesn't itch because my hair doesn't grow? I shave my head every day.
Shave it all the time.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's like I don't shave my head very frequently, so you get more skin cells that just kind of hang out in the forest, so to speak. So when you shave it all down, and then it starts to poke through, and it itches.
Sounds like bollocks to me. I could grow my hair out, but
when's the last time you had hair?
3, 4, 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know. 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could grow it out. Look. If we hit, in my next subathon, if we hit like $2,000 raised, I will grow out my hair for how many months?
3 months.
3? Oh God, 3 months. Okay, I'd grow out my hair for 3 months. There we go. 2,000 months. No, Seth.
You gotta go way back in the YouTube video channels to find when he had hair. And let's be honest, it was about as long as mine is currently.
It wasn't actually. In the early days, I used to wear a cap. So, like, I had hair under that cap.
But you've had a couple. There's like the one if you play the biddies for.
Oh yeah,
it's one of your biddy one where you have hair. It's just short.
Yeah, that would have been sort of July 2020.
Yeah.
That would have been about then, and there are reasons behind why that happened that we're not going to get into in this Tribe Talks. But grow the hair out for a decade? I'm not doing that, Sop. No.
You're gonna need to provide Scribe with a 6-figure salary every year.
Yeah, I will need that.
And then he'll entertain it.
Yeah, I'll need that 2,000. And the thing is if I was getting $2,000 a month, I could probably just go and get hair implants, and I'd be all right with it.
That is fair.
Scribe with a mullet, that would be a look. Do you think I could pull off like a Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid look? Full blown mullet, wear a bandana. I mean, let's face it, that's Hunter's look. Hunter is just trying to be Solid Snake.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's pretty close.
If I'm raising money for a quick trip to Turkey, I'm going to sort out the teeth at the same time, buddy. I'll get some turkey teeth at the same time. I'll have the whitest, straightest teeth you've ever seen. They won't be real, but they'll be there in my mouth. Wear a wig? No. The only wig I've worn is a Princess Leia wig. So, mullets are back, baby. An Iro, please. What's an Iro, Vin?
No idea.
No idea. Iro.
I wish Twitch and YouTube would get on the same page with how they do their chats.
What do you mean?
Well, so YouTube under like the chat only goes as far as the video display is on the web page.
Yeah.
And then underneath it starts populating, recommended videos. Twitch will just let the chat go all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
Of the page. So I've got both chats up, but I keep looking in the same spots and realizing there's like 8 more lines of text under the Twitch side of things.
Yeah, that's the way it be. Iro Key's haircut. One strip in the middle of the head, rest shade. Well, like I've got a racing stripe down the center of my head?
No. What you need to do is go for the Lobot look and just take the side band. Because that's honestly all it's going to grow.
Just attach a metal implement on the side of my head. Could I integrate my headphones into that so I don't have to wear them? They'll just be permanently attached. To be fair, if I'm going to Turkey to sort my hair and sort my teeth and then also get some permanent wearable headphones, can they also sort out my chronic tinnitus? Because
at that point, you just might as well just go for the Neuralink.
Yeah, well, I might as well just become a vegetable and live in the Matrix because the body's knackered, right? The body's knackered. So,
fair.
Yeah. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tribe Talks, episode 37, I want to say. Wolfie is not with us today because he's off celebrating his mother's birthday, as we all should. I was also celebrating my mother's birthday today, but her party finished earlier than that because we've been out all day drinking. If this episode goes a little bit off rails, it's got nothing to do with the fact that I've drunk a little bit today. Only a little cough.
Listen, I'm stone cold sober, and it'll take nothing for me to go off the rails.
Oh, yeah, we'll balance each other out here. I'll go off the rails one way, you go off the rails the other way, we'll meet in the middle. It'll be perfect. Yeah. It'll be perfect. Amazing.
You hold the wheel tight to the left, I'll hold the wheel tight to the right, and then eventually we'll just loop back in on it.
Yeah. Or the axle will break and the car will go nowhere.
We're driving the same car, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, we're driving different cars? Oh, then we're going to come full circle and crash into each other. Perfect.
Exactly. Then we will stay on topic.
Exactly. Eventually. Depends how big the turning circle is. But, eventually we will hit one another. So that's good. Unfortunately, though, this week has been a really quiet week for news, Garth. We don't really have anything to talk about.
You would have been right up until Friday night.
Yeah, well,
it was quite boring up until that point. I'm not gonna lie.
We're only a little bit. We were just chilling.
We were just looking at the possibility of doing.
I mean, I was trying to do GAC. I tried to do GAC.
Yeah.
And then for like the first 3 hours of GAC, we got a little sidetracked.
I mean, a little might be a massive understatement. I don't think you weren't quite the Wolfie levels of stalling, but I think you were an hour and 45 minutes in before you started your first attack.
Yeah, because there was a puzzle that we haven't had in like a year and a half.
2
years and a half, or 2 years?
2. Well, let me.
I think it was like
that.
December 2022.
It was October of 22. Yeah, you can just go back into the channel and it'll show you
a year and 2/3 ago, more or less.
Yeah, if I scroll back up to the last one with Afra's coming was literally October 1st of 2022.
Okay.
That was when we found out about her. So that was the last puzzle was for her.
Yeah, Vin, I'm not getting a mohawk. He sent me a picture of a mohawk, like a proper mohawk, pink spikes and everything, or purple spikes. Yeah,
I think you need this thing called hair first.
And then... Well, there's that, but also, how am I supposed to wear headphones with a mohawk, man?
You make sure one of the divots is somewhere on the top of your head.
Just right here. Yeah.
Just mark it out ahead of time.
Yeah, so we did have a puzzle, and it was ingenious. The puzzle was clever, right?
It was a clever puzzle. They're always pretty good at that part of it, because it's like the parts of the puzzle you see are like everything is multi-purpose. There's never a single like the clue leads obviously to one thing. It's like the clue is like, oh well, it leads you to
something.
The thing we want you to use to solve the other part of the thing.
Yeah. It's like, here's a bunch of random clues that seem completely disparate. They don't make any sense. Go figure it out. And you're like, okay, I've got some pictures of clouds and rocks. What am I supposed to do with this? And you're like, well, clouds and rocks, mate. I mean, seems obvious to me.
Next GL, that's the geode guy from the High Republic. Clearly, you're done.
Yeah, we're having, it's Geodude is coming to Galaxy of Heroes. Obviously, no. It turns out it wasn't
Carbonite Han Solo. My bad.
Yeah,
Carbonite Han Solo. That's what it was.
But it turns out that it's actually. Well, I mean, there's two things to talk about here. There's two things. There's Night Trooper, right? Ahsoka content, which is huge, which is cool. I'm super stoked.
Which
and
tells
then
us that's the direction we're headed, but yeah. And then there's Ahsoka GL. That's meaningless. No one cares.
I don't think anybody actually. Yeah, that's not important. It's not going to impact the meta. So
no,
we should probably just talk about
Night Trooper.
Night Trooper, baby, Night Trooper.
To be honest, I have an inclination that Ahsoka is going to be one of the most expensive GLs.
I actually feel like that as well. We've had 2 GLs. Look at Jabba and look at Leia. The last 2 GLs have been deceptively cheap. As far as relic levels are concerned, I'm not talking about the marquees. As far as relic level investment, cheapest GLs we've had in ages. Yeah. They've been like R3s and R5s and R7s. Yeah, maybe an R8
one
or 2
2 R8s, but that's an achievable rank.
But you compare it to like Lord Vader, which is 4 marquees at the time.
R8s.
4 R8s, some R7s, R5s, no R3s whatsoever. He was a very expensive GL. And you go even before him and you look at stuff like JML. JML was an expensive GL if you take into account you need to have C3PO, you need to have Gen 9 Luke, and you need, the total investment cost was huge.
JML takes the cake on being the most expensive GL in just the list of requirements because he has so many legendaries
that you need
under him that you need to have. But for most accounts that had been around close to the beginning of the launch of the game, it was stuff that was already at your feet. You didn't have to do anything for it. So.
But then the first indication that this is going to be an expensive GL is just that they immediately came out and said, Ahsoka Tano Relic 9 requirement.
Yes.
And I feel that's deliberately vague. I think it's deliberately vague.
Not even that. Not even that. I don't even care about that part. I feel like she won't be the only one. I think
yeah, neither do I. That's exactly that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano, Relic 9 requirement. Oh, we meant all of them.
Yeah. Well, here's the reason why I think it won't be the only one. It's because if you look at the Ahsoka live action version of the character, since they started with Mandalorian and moved onward, you're gonna have to assume that they're gonna do characters that were tied to her. Well, if that's the case, Bam and Jedi Knight Luke seem like obvious shoo-ins.
Yeah, without a doubt.
They're already required at R7 for different events, and I don't think R8 yet. But so I feel like they're going to be easy R9s to throw in there. I don't know if they'll make us do the rest of the.
They might just do R8 though. They might just do R8.
If I was CG, I would throw in the R9 gauntlet. I think because here's the difference between Ahsoka and the last two GLs. She's not tied to a raid. So availability does not need to be as accessible as the other ones. So I think this is going to be a high relic, high marquee GL. This is going to be the absolute just like get wrecked or spend.
You know the other side of it for me that's making me think this is a massive R9 requirement GL is all we have to do is look at the general disposition of CG recently. New Assault Battle, R9s. New Raid, R9s. They are pushing so heavily for us to just start R9ing our rosters that I would not be surprised at all if we see 3 or 4 R9s. No, well, maybe 4 is a bit much, but 3 I can see.
Though, I think a lot of the bigger spenders, and I'm kind of in that boat. Not as
kind of.
No, not what I mean. In the same mentality.
I've spent a little bit of money.
Not the amount of money you spent, but the mentality is that a lot of this game for the last 2 years has been really focused on making things accessible, which is good. That's the thing that they needed to do anyways.
Yeah.
But as a spender, it's very, I guess the novelty for spending is for exclusivity, right? To have early access, to be the early adopter to it. But when you can do that easily because there's no hard lockouts on the GL that prevents, smaller accounts from just going right to it, it kind of diminishes the purpose of investment besides just being the, if you want to be competitive, you don't want to be behind the 8 ball on everybody having it and you not having it and then eating a. Because, I mean, that was like Leia, when Leia and Drogon's cron came out. If you didn't have Leia, eat shit. Like,
yeah, but I mean,
you weren't playing.
the other side of it is like, when even in Kyber 1, right? You go in Kyber 1 and pretty much everybody had Leia, more or less, and Drogon pretty quick. Pretty quick.
And
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's still quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
All in the top area of the game that have all got it. It's obviously not exclusive enough. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that from a player perspective. I'm saying probably from CG's perspective. They were like, we should probably try and make this a little bit more exclusive. As in, we should probably try and price out more people.
To
make it feel like worthwhile.
I feel like we're gonna go back to the old marquee release style for leading into Ahsoka.
I wouldn't be surprised.
We're not going to get the freebies, but I mean, honest to God, if they wanted to make more money, they should keep it because people spend way more money on that marquee style than they did on anything else.
Oh yeah,
the big spenders save money, but you cut down the number of people spending.
Right now, I've got about 17K crystals in my horde, so I'm expecting Night Trooper to come this Thursday. If it's not this Thursday, it's next week Thursday. But I'm expecting this Thursday.
So I'm expecting this week as well because the promotional image we found said available now.
Exactly. It's coming soon. They wouldn't if it wasn't coming this coming week. Yeah. So I'm expecting like kit reveal Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then comes to the game Thursday, right? If the point I was trying to make is if this marquee comes out this Thursday coming, I've got about 17K crystals hoarded. And it comes out and it's not a special marquee, those crystals are staying in my inventory. I'll buy the $30 pack and that's it. I'm not spending anything on the whale packs.
You're
I'll
gonna buy
wait.
the $30 pack for literally the Omicrons.
Exactly. I'll buy the $30 pack. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The 30 shards or so that you get, that's just like a little bit of icing on the cake. I'll get the Omicrons, I'll get some shards, and the rest of my crystals will be saved to when it hits shipments, and I'll get shipment farm. So they could earn that 17k, but not only that 17k crystals, I'll probably need an extra 3k or so to get them to the 6 stars so I can earn the 7 stars. So they'll get 20k crystals out of me if it's in the new marquee style. If it's not, they get nothing until it goes shipment farmable, and then they'll get half of that value.
And even
half,
then,
a third.
If Night Trooper doesn't have a powerful Omicron, he's the first one out the door. That means he's going to be farmable before the event goes live.
Exactly.
Just because the cadence of marquee release. So it's like, let it stew. Like, there's no reason to be an early adopter unless he's gonna be really powerful in a team square one. And so I feel like there's gonna be more of a pinch. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, there's kind of 3 ways I see this going. There's either gonna be more total requirements required for the GL. So
I'm expecting 4 marquees.
15. I'm expecting a minimum of 5 marquees.
Wow, 5 marquees. Okay.
Well, because Night Trooper's not going to go with a team, and she needs a team. She's got nobody to pull from. In the games. So new Sabine, new Ezra, Hu Yang, and then +1
Syndulla. Hera.
Oh God, I really don't want her to go into the team though. I would really rather have her.
I'm expecting I'm expecting her to be a New Republic GL. I'm expecting new faction tag, New Republic, not Ufu.
Maybe.
Ezra's not an Ufu. Ezra is not an Ufu. He's a Jedi.
Well, yeah, but neither is Sabine either, because she's trained to be a Jedi. Yeah. Like, it's never been in doubt. It's just Ahsoka who's not aligned.
She doesn't align with the Jedi religion.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll sidestep that part of it. But the other way I see either way they're going is high heroic levels. Everything like R7 plus. I don't see any R5s with this one. I don't see. So I feel like this is going to be a very expensive, very exclusive one to get to.
I think so.
Because a lot of the characters they're going to pull from Ahsoka, no matter where you go, in her origin story, like you could do Plo Koon because of he's the one that finds her. You could do Rex, either version of it as part of the requirements, because
probably OG Rex, I would imagine.
Probably OG, from the flashbacks.
Well, not only that, but Captain Rex is also a requirement for Leia. So I don't think OG Rex is a requirement for anything. So.
Not yet, no. Which is fun.
So it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also subconsciously happy because I have an R7 Rex, so I'm like, it's only a relic level or 2.
So there's just a lot of things from her past that they could pull from, but there's a lot of stuff from the new things they could do as well. And like you brought up in your video the other day about Ahsoka, I would be wildly surprised if they did not push out Baylan and Shin and Morgan and other characters with it, but I don't think they'll all be a part of the GL release. They'll lead into either, I think, a legendary coming out.
I think Baylan, of all people, should at least be a legendary, and if he's not a legendary, he should be a conquest unit.
Yeah, if he doesn't come as...
I think Shin Haiti, I think, could be a marquee. But I think if they don't push him out as at least a legendary or a conquest unit, I think they're selling him short because he's such a goddamn badass.
Conquest units can be incredibly powerful.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So I'd rather have it be a conquest unit, which would kind of explain why we got Luthen in the middle here.
Yeah.
As kind of a I don't want to say throwaway. I think he's actually going to do really good for the Rebel fighters, but
I'm sure he will.
Throwaway a slot for it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did a legendary leading up to Captain Pelion.
Captain Pelion as the legendary, do you mean?
Yeah, and then Thrawn is the GL. Yeah,
I can definitely see Thrawn as being the GL that precedes.
Mirrors the
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Definitely. It doesn't make sense to me that they do anybody else. Now, we've spoken about this in the past when it came to Ahsoka. When the TV show was going live, we were talking about this. And we both agreed that right now is probably too early for Galactic Legend versions of them.
That's how immediately I felt when I heard the announcement. I'm like, really?
I have to think then that this is Disney. Disney is saying, you've got to push out a Galactic Legend Ahsoka. and then it's going to be, you're going to have to push out a Galactic Legend Thrawn. We want to build hype for season 2 of Ahsoka.
Yeah,
like, that's what it feels like.
I could see that being part of it, but I think Ahsoka went over reasonably well, so I don't think it's going to have. There'll be a high adoption rate.
I actually, I think I posted it in the patron chat earlier today, Garth. But I had a comment in one of my YouTube videos that said, "Woke Ahsoka, you should be fine. It's nothing but whale food. What a trash character," or something like that. I was like, I've never heard her called woke Ahsoka before.
I didn't think it was that bad.
No.
I thought there was some writing point. It's a Disney problem in general.
Yeah.
They wanna have stakes and then they immediately take it away. Like that was one thing about like the most recent episode
Jesus is the guy that did the comment apparently in chat. Jesus is the guy who's like, woke Ahsoka.
But like that was kind of the fun part I liked about the most recent episode of The Acolyte. I won't spoil it, but it's like it actually felt like for a brief second there was stakes in a Disney Star Wars film, because it's like most of the time like we had that in Andor. Andor had it, but like a lot of the stuff just there's stakes, things happen, next episode immediately fixes all of it. It's like really.
I like the fact, like, don't get me wrong, as far as episodes are concerned in The Acolyte, I've rated it before like 6 out of 10. I'm still sort of leaning towards that. But when I watched episode 5, I thought, one, we finally had a good action scene. In a Star Wars TV show. It, like, anybody that looks at it and says that was a terrible action scene, it's got to rub their eyes out with bleach or something. It was good. It was entertaining. You can say what you want about the narrative. I don't care if somebody comes up to me and says Jackie was training with sticks and now she's amazing. It's like, that's just training. You could tell. You look at the training montage, the way she handles the sticks, she clearly knows how to fight. Just because you know how to fight doesn't mean you don't train with sticks anymore. They're not going to train with lightsabers out in the open and be like, yeah, I could accidentally cut off your limb. They're going to train with a wooden implement. People do that when they are real sword fighters. You train with a wooden stick in sparring. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, it's funny though that they do that though, because it's been established in canon multiple times that they had training sabers for that exact reason.
Well, there you go. I mean,
but training sabers would leave like blisters if they made contact with you. But I mean,
so there's a part of the lore that they've skipped it. I don't personally have a problem that she looked cool having a fight. That was okay to me.
The stick thing is all just about the feel they're going for. They're going for that really kind of like
well, it's just a regimented training pattern. Like, that's all they were doing. It's like, hey, look, we've got a bunch of Padawans. We're going over combat training because there hasn't been a Sith in a millennia still, and they don't have real combat experience, but it's part of their training to train for combat. They do that. That's okay. That doesn't mean they don't know how to fight. It's completely acceptable that they know how to fight. Granted, there are other Jedi Knights and Jedi Masters that got absolutely destroyed. That's okay. It's called narrative, guys. It's called narrative. There are stakes involved. You don't care if some random Jedi Knight gets impaled by a Sith Lord because you're like, it's just some random dude. Jackie, you've seen 4 episodes of her, and you've got some character development, you've got some emotional investment, like her or hate her.
Whoa,
you can't have that.
No. You're just about to just give away plot points here.
Okay, fine. I mean, spoilers if you've not seen it.
The episode's not even a week old. Like, we can skirt it a little bit.
It's well, the thing is that episode got. I unfortunately went on Twitter 6 hours after the episode went live.
Yeah.
And I had all of the deaths spoiled for me immediately.
Oh yeah, dude, you can't go to YouTube after once the episode's published on YouTube, like every single channel that I know that covers it, it's like you see the screenshot and you're like, and the title, like, okay, well, I know what happened.
Yeah, well, I didn't have any, because I don't watch any sort of Star Wars reviews videos, so they don't get recommended to me. But it's literally as soon as I went on Twitter, it's not even like spoiler tag. It's just video clips, nothing, just video clips, people dying. So I agree with you that it's nice to see that there is actual stakes involved, because there's too many TV shows that are too scared to kill off characters. Or if they kill someone off, they'll bring them
Grand
back.
Inquisitor, or Sabine.
They all come back all the flipping time. So it's nice. But it's like it's not even like you killed a character. It's like you brutalized characters. Yeah, it wasn't even like heroic death. It was just like you got absolutely fucked.
You found the first boss in Elden Ring and didn't know how to play a Dark Souls game.
Yeah.
That's what happened to those guys.
Yeah, they got absolutely murked. It wasn't even close, like, and you're just like, wow, that was brutal.
Yeah, again, we could spend the rest of the tribe talks talking about that, but
I enjoyed that. What's up, Law? How you doing, dude?
But coming back to Ahsoka, I mean, I feel like for the most part with her, I don't know which direction they go for her as a leader, because I feel like it's gonna have to be like a Leia, like a massive Leia kit, where it's like if R2D2 is present, then he gains this massive wall of text, and then they're gonna do the same thing. Like if Sabine is present, if Ezra is present, if Hu Yang is present.
This is why I'm thinking they just go New Republic tag, and they're just like, she's New Republic. I mean, here's 4 marquees for New Republic.
There's no way, unless you want to count like the last like 20 seconds of the Ahsoka show as Ezra being part of the New Republic. That doesn't really stick.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine, because they can say, it's just balance reasons.
Well, yeah, no. Honest to God, though,
get out of jail free card.
I would agree to that, because I believe if CG is smart, they can easily plan out the next 2 GL capital ships. Do a new GL New Republic capital ship. You can do the Starhawk, which is from the EA the Battlefront 2 campaign, which is, I believe, part of the canon now.
They can do her ship.
Yeah, they can.
Her ship was kind of cool. I liked her ship.
But they can do Thrawn with the gilded Chimera put back together, and then whatever else. But for me, I feel like if Thrawn comes to the game as a galactic legend and Pelion is not a part of that team, I think that's a major misstep. Especially that we went through the effort twice now to bring Pelion to both live action and the animated series, because he shows up in the Tales of the Empire series with Morgan Elsbeth. So I would be floored if they don't make that connection and bring it together. Because it's like, as much as I love like the Ahsoka stuff for Thrawn, I would really like to see like kind of the core Thrawn theme kind of come up in the long run.
How do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, it's like the lore, the parts of his lore from the EU, you know, where it's like it's actually like Thrawn's power base, not just people that he happened to be next to. So it's like,
well, I mean,
I wouldn't mind Enoch, but like I feel like Night Trooper is almost a wasted spot on the team.
Well, personally, I think Night Trooper is going to be a Night Sister. I don't think that's going to Thrawn. I think he's going to be a Night Sister unit.
Oh yeah, the abilities that you can read on the thing kind of gives that away, to be honest.
So I personally think that if they're doing Thrawn, they'll do some sort of Imperial remnant. But the thing with Thrawn that I didn't pull away when I came away from the Ahsoka show, I didn't look at that as Thrawn happened to be with Night Sisters. I looked at that and thought Thrawn is a tactical genius. He landed completely isolated in the unknown regions, didn't know what he did, and he managed to forge an alliance with an incredible, powerful source on the hometown. Yeah. You know, and he's built that alliance, and he's managed to build his escape, because the Night Sisters managed to communicate with Morgan Elsbeth. She managed to orchestrate a means of getting him. He built that because he is manipulative and knows what he needs to do. So it's kind of like, I think they'll lean into that. I don't think he'll get Night Trooper, sorry. I think they'll bring out Night Trooper. I think they'll bring out Morgan Elsbeth. Maybe I think Great Mothers should be like a Night Sister GL at some point. I think that'd be sick. And then I think they'll build a whole new Imperial remnant.
That's
around.
Well, that's I honestly hope that Balin and Shin don't wind up under him either.
No, I think they should be either like a duo, kind of like Wampa, but it's specifically designed to be just them two as unaligned Dark Side Force users, or they get their own unaligned Dark Force user team. That would be cool.
Yeah, I could be cool with that. I really just hope because that's the thing is we'll see it again when we get to the Tribe Talk questions.
Yeah,
like so many people are like, what about these characters? What about these characters? I'm like, oh my god, do you want like 12 of the fucking 15 requirements to be marquees? Like,
there's too much.
Stop somewhere.
There's too much within the Ahsoka TV show that could come out as marquees to just be for one GL. Yeah. They can't just do all of them just for Ahsoka. They'll have to save some for Thrawn. They'll have to. Yeah. Because like, I mean, you could just reel them all off and be like, yeah, we could have this, we could have that, we could have that. And it would be like 7 or 8 characters easily, immediately, that you could introduce.
Well, you could. Well, what I'm kind of hoping for, to be honest, is that Morgan gets the Night Trooper and gets Merrick, and then we can pick up 2 other Night Sisters underneath them.
I think. Well, I mean, yeah, they could. We don't have 2 full Night Sister teams that are good, so maybe they could pick up like Acolyte and Initiate, and make a team with them. But I would be completely happy if they also got the Death Trooper version of the Night Trooper. That was also in that, because that thing was a badass. There was 2 of them, but they were fucking sick.
Yeah, well, and I'm all for that kind of stuff too. I'm thinking of like how they build out the different teams that make sense, but I feel like the deluge of marquees we got since the start of the Naboo raid announcement, I feel like we're gearing up for round 2 of that, and it's gonna. This is what's gonna replace the capital ship for this year. Because I mean, honest to God, I don't know where they were gonna go with the capital ship that made sense. And New Republic makes the most sense. You have tons of stuff that's already released. You don't have to go too crazy with it. You can bring in the E-Wing. You can bring in a couple other characters. You got plenty of pilot choices for that particular series to pull from. There's a lot of things they can do with that. And you can have there's a wide variety of capital ships to kind of pull from as well. They could do the one that we saw at the beginning of Ahsoka, which would be pretty lame. Or they can do things like as extensive as the Starhawk, which is, basically a giant tractor beam, that can hold capital ships in place. It's a really powerful. It was like a combination. They took like 4 Star Destroyers to make 1 Starhawk.
Really? Wow, that's crazy.
They were breaking them down. They're phenomenal ships, lore wise. But anyways. That makes the most sense, is to get the New Republic tag out and rolling, and then bring in that ship later, and then do Thrawn's next year. Do Thrawn, and then roll back into a capital ship for him as well.
No, it would all be cool. It would definitely all be cool. I put, like, when it was coming to looking at the team that you build, because I mean, obviously the first instinct when we think about Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano is, she'll be unaligned Force user, right? It's like, that's the first thing. It's like, yeah, definitely that. But then you look at the characters available and you're like, well, she can't have any of these characters.
Yeah, not without just massively infringing on some serious power creep problems.
Yeah, not unless you just like don't want a GL Ray team, and you don't want a Malicos team, and you don't want a Starkiller team. If you're happy with losing those teams, it's completely fine.
Yeah, that's what I was talking with Ranger about yesterday, was like the fact of like, if she's just a generic UFU lead like Seer, she takes the best of everything and then just dumps on the thing so many things.
She's not going to take Starkiller, because Starkiller has got such unique requirements to make him work.
Depends on what her leadership does too, though, right? Because it's the reason why people take Seer with, or take Starkiller with Seer. It's like it still does the majority of the thing.
There are still some of the benefits that you get, for sure. But I mean, I can't see it happening, because I can't see them trying to break that many teams. Like, it feels iffy to me to break 3 or 4 teams for that. That's why I was thinking New Republic makes more sense.
I don't disagree with you on that front. And they can do the same thing that they've done in other places, like with like JMK, right? Yeah. JMK and Lord Vader the same way. They both are Jedi and Sith respectively, but JMK leads
Empire and GI
specifically, and then Lord Vader leads specifically Empire.
Which is why I think she will absolutely 100% be an unaligned Force user.
Yeah.
But I think she'll be New Republic. So
that makes the most sense to me. They spent a lot of time establishing that New Republic is a thing.
Yeah.
So
that's how I'm thinking, and I think we'll get Sabine. She'll be Jedi, and she'll be New Republic. We'll get Ezra. He'll be Jedi. He'll be New Republic, and I think he'll have decent enough synergy to work in any kit. I think he'll have some attacks that he's like unarmed, and some with a lightsaber. Sabine will have lightsaber and pistol. And then Hu Yang, I hope he's a support character like C-3PO. That'd be sick. And then we've got Hera, who can just have a really nice booty.
Yeah. Ooh,
I don't think we'll get Jason. Is it Jason? Jason? Jason. I don't think we'll get him. Not yet, at least. Maybe season 2 of Ahsoka will get him.
If they have a time jump, then yeah. But I doubt they're going to have much
They'll
jump.
They'll have at least a little bit of a time jump, because by the time they'll film, that kid's going to grow up. So it's going to be a year or two between filming. Probably 2 or 3 years between filming. So he's going to look 2 or 3 years older. And they grow fast at that age. So they'll have to incorporate some sort of time jump.
Or just recast. That's an option too.
Or recast, yeah. So it would be cool. Because, like, out of everybody, there's no way that you can watch Ahsoka and say, Ezra's not a Jedi. He's definitely still a Jedi. He's, like, very much, the Force will guide me. I don't even need a lightsaber. That's not my lightsaber anymore. He's like, yeah, the guy just lives and breathes and sounds like he's still a Jedi. Whereas Ahsoka just doesn't really... I had someone in my chat say that Ahsoka is clearly now a Jedi by the end of Ahsoka season 1. I was like, no, she hasn't changed. I mean, she's had character development, but
yeah, if you want to say that after the World Between Worlds part, that she went back to being a Jedi and got over her issues with the Order, then you might have a leg to stand on. But they haven't really flushed that part out. Besides the fact that she's just wearing white clothes now. So I need more before I just agree blindly to that idea.
Yeah, no, I don't think she is. Like when she takes on Sabine as her Padawan, that feels more that doesn't feel like a formalized Jedi ritual. You are now my Padawan, I'm your Jedi Master or Jedi Knight or whatever. That feels more like I owe this to you because you were at one point my Padawan whilst I was a Jedi Knight, and I'm going to see this through and train you. Like, that's what that feels like. That does not feel like I am now formally a part of the Jedi Order again. Or I follow the Jedi belief system.
Yeah, well, but she never trained her as a Jedi either. Like, I mean,
did she not? No.
Ahsoka from the time she left the temple in the Clone Wars series, she never rejoined the Order, and she had opportunities to do so. Even Kanan and her discuss it in the Rebels TV show, and she just has no interest in being a part of it. So they kind of make a blatant point about that portion of it. So it's hard to say where they want the character to go without actually like giving us season 2.
Yeah. Maybe in season 2 they'll be like, oh yeah, we're going to make you a Jedi again. Maybe, but we haven't seen that. I think if they were going to make Ahsoka be a Jedi in the first Ahsoka series, they would make a much bigger deal out of it than say, oh, it's up to interpretation. Yeah. Like that's a pretty big deal. So I don't think she is statistically a Jedi. I still think she's an unaligned Force user. She just happens to be light side Force sensitive. And that's okay. That's okay. She can take a Padawan. Sith can take a Padawan. They just call them an apprentice. You know, or an acolyte. You know, it's terminology. That's all it is. In the Cal Kestis games, the next one should be about him building a new Jedi Order. Maybe Ahsoka will be a part of that. Who knows?
I doubt it. I highly doubt they do anything with Cal Kestis that's a footprint. It's the one thing I keep reminding people of, whoever try to get crazy with the idea of what Cal can get up to. He is in a time frame that is very defined in the Star Wars universe. It is very hard to go off the rails and be like, well, he didn't have an impact on the... Like, he either has to die by Darth Vader at some point and get everything that he worked so hard on collapse, or he goes to be a hermit in the woods and make little night sister it. And
then come back in 40 years' time as an old man. And be like, maybe now we can build a new Jedi Order.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's the whole point of the second game, is they found that planet that's between, you know, it's outside the charted system, and they can maybe do something out there and create some sort of order out there, maybe. But you have to be incredibly careful with how you structure narratives, because it's a very defined part of the Star Wars universe of what happens between the events of the Clone Wars and the events of the episode 4. So it's like that's why even in the Rebels series, when Ahsoka returns in the show, she is super vague about what she's doing, but she says that she can't be a part of their plans. Like, I can't be here, even though she like whoops all their problems to the floor because she's way better at being a Jedi or being a lightsaber user than Kanan and Ezra were. It's like she can't stick around because she can't be a part of things because in canon she was never there. So it's like, okay, you realize there's a number of doors you just can't open anymore. So it's like, all right, well,
that's the really cool thing about the Fallen Order and the Jedi Survivor series is they used a real life actor as the main character. They based it off him. So if ever they want to make that transition to live action, they're like, oh, who should we get to play the part of Jedi Cal? It's like, how about this dude? He looks exactly like him. So they they could very easily make that transition at some point. I'd be down for that. That'd be cool.
And I would be very okay with it.
He's a good actor too. I'll be honest. He's a good guy.
If you want to go that direction. But it's just, for me, it's like at a certain point, you got to realize there's only so many places to maneuver in this time zone. This is why I kind of hate that Star Wars keeps coming back to the same time.
I've said it before. Make some new shit. Else? That's okay.
Go anywhere else? There's like 4,000 years between the events of the Old Republic, the initial KOTOR 1 game, and Episode 1. Like 4,000 years, and you're telling me nothing cool happened in between?
Absolutely nothing, mate. Nothing cool happened in 4,000 years. Yeah, how long has the Earth been around? Couple of billion years. Oh, sorry. It's only been around for 2,000 years. No longer. I don't care what you've got about carbon dating. The Earth came into being 2,000 years ago. Nothing existed before that.
Anyways, back to the show.
It's an old planet. Shit can happen in a long time. So yeah, we could make that happen. So yeah.
All right, so more Ahsoka speculation or raid speculation?
Well, I mean, have we plumbed the deepest depths?
Oh no,
of the Ahsoka.
We keep getting derailed.
Yeah, no, we do a little bit, but it's almost like this is an episode of Tribe Talks where we just talk bollocks.
You're right. My bad. How could I forgot that?
Yeah. Well, plumb the depths harder. We could plumb harder. I don't know. I think the well is not dry, but it's moist now. It's not full of water when it comes to that. So we could get the paper towels and we could try and soak up the remnants of little droplets of information when it comes to that. But I think would just be. How about this? We'll wrap it up with 3 marquees with data mined. Who do you think the 2 marquees are that haven't been announced? Just throw them out.
Ezra and Sabine. Like.
Agreed. Moving on.
There's no way. There's no way they don't bring them in. Like those. Like
has to be characters that are going to work with her. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, they have to bring us her team. This is where her and her time frame is located. We have nothing that supports her. So they're gonna bring. That's why I said 5 marquees for her, because the night trooper is one of them required. But we need her team, which is going to be 4 characters, unless they're like, we'll just bring in any other UFO. It's like, okay, well, quit being lazy, CG. Build 4 teams. Like,
get this.
I don't care if it is just Hera. Like,
what if she is the first GL that is a solo GL?
Oh god!
You don't use any support. She's just that obnoxious.
That would be the epitome of just.
You couldn't set her on defense in GAC.
No, but you'd piss everybody off.
They're like, huh?
Yeah, I would find that to be really dumb, because
it would be very dumb. I'm not saying this is a good idea.
Bane, with Bane, and like I get where Bane's at, but like I kind of am annoyed that character, that power level, just can't ever go on defense.
Yeah, never. I'm gonna watch everyone lose. Can never go on defense.
I'm gonna watch everyone lose their ever-loving minds when the Bane cron goes away and they try to go beat things that they tried without it in the past. They're like, "Oh my god, Bane sucks. He's no good anymore. He doesn't do anything." Because you know it's happening. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I guarantee you he won't suck. It's just people have been so used to the extremely exaggerated power level that he has with his datacron. That they're just like, oh my god. I mean, I won't be able to solo JMK teams anymore. That's for sure. Well, not solo.
There's a lot of teams you won't be able to do a lot of that anymore though, because you don't have the constant deaths procking the cooldown refreshes. So it's like
I think you could see Bane JMK. Maybe not with the current datacron set, but
not with that one. Well, because the protection disruption really causes you a lot of heartache.
It sucks. And you know, and all the extra stats that they're gaining from the 15%. But typically, if you get rid of Cat, it helps. But they've still got so much damage output. That's kind of like. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. He might actually become the Sea Lifter after his datacron goes away.
He definitely will, because there's just no way for him to ramp as hard. The only problem is with like as a Sea Lifter is that it's gonna be the modding is gonna matter a whole lot more on. I had
a really funny interaction. It might have been on Friday night. I can't remember which GAC it was when I used Bane against Queen Amidala, and I started off and I was just like, I'll do the sucky suck at the start, just because I want to raise some mastery right at the start. He had a little bit from the counterattacks. No, he didn't. No, of course it was just the first one. I just used the sucky suck, and I was like, oh, okay, well I guess I'll just use the first special, and everybody died. I was like, oh yeah. One hit.
There's so many buffs on the Padme team. But again, I don't think that he'll be able to.
Everybody died.
Without the cron, I don't know if he'll be able to do it though, because without that ramping crit damage, I don't know if it's going to be possible.
Yeah, it was dumb. I was like, this is such a sketchy counter. This is so sketchy, and I was just like, bleep, and everybody died. I was like, well, okay, it wasn't so sketchy.
It's funny how it's sketchier in 3v3 than it is in 5v5.
Yeah, that's just bizarre. Well, I suppose there's less buffs on the field and stuff, but hey.
Yeah.
It was a good time. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I think he's still going to be really, really phenomenal. And he'll probably be able to beat stuff without C. Just maybe not some of the top-end stuff that he's currently beating. So...
yeah, that's where I think it's going to fall into at some point. But again, I see them bringing in Ahsoka with a full team, and then so 5 marquees, probably 10 characters from her story. So Phoenix, some of the early GR stuff, and then probably Bam and Luke, and tons of hype.
I'm really hoping that they start throwing out some Relic 9 Phoenix requirements. I really hope they are, man. I mean,
I really hope it's none of the ones you already have it right now.
Yeah, it's not Captain Rex, it's not Kanan, it's not Zeb, it's not Chopper. It's none of those. It might be OG Hera, but she's at R8.
Yeah.
I've got R5 Sabine and R3 Ezra. The rest are, well, apart from Hera is R8. The rest are R9. I'm like, please make one of them an R9 requirement so I can be like, ha, I win.
I am victorious.
Yeah, for once. That would have been the most bang for buck Relic 9 sub goals that I've ever had. It'd be amazing. It would be amazing. So please make Phoenix some requirements.
Well, isn't that kind of funny how that plays out though in the long run of things? Is like I was doing that a while ago too, where it's like I was just pushing up random characters for shits and giggles sake, and then out of nowhere, it was just like, oh yeah, by the way, there are requirements for things now, or the team that you're going to be using for them, they now slot in perfectly too. It's like when I took Visas up on for Ray,
and then
Starkiller comes out, just
like
well, that's a happy accident.
Mission failed successfully, I think.
Yeah,
is what that was. Yeah,
exactly
I'm hoping. I'm very much hoping that happens, but I'm also thinking that it probably won't. So, but hey ho, we can always hope, can't we, Garth? We can always hope.
We only live on hope, to be honest with you. Otherwise, everything's just too sad and depressing.
Well, on that bombshell, let's talk all things Raid. It's about to launch in like 2 days, right?
Well, that's the scuttlebutt. I have yet to see an official post with the information. But it would be massively surprised if they don't launch it on Wednesday. Like massively surprised.
That's the thing. They said second. And the 2nd is a Sunday. I'm like,
no.
Didn't they say
2nd is Tuesday next week? This week.
Oh, of course it is. Sorry. It's not a Sunday at all. It's Tuesday. What am I talking about? Today is Sunday. Yeah,
Tuesday, ain't it?
Tuesday. Tuesday. I'm not English, mate. I'm Welsh, so I don't say Tuesday. Tuesday.
You're all on the same island.
Well, I can say that about the United States. You're saying you guys don't have different pronunciations?
Oh, we do, but I mean, you guys make the same generalization with the states as we do with the.
That's
British.
true. You're all American. You're all Yank scum.
Yeah.
No, we don't. You're like, you're all a bunch of limey fucks, and we're like, yeah, you're all a bunch of Yanks.
Yeah. So July 2nd is Tuesday. So
in Tuesday.
48 hours, we should have an idea of what the hell.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird because we still don't know what they actually do in battle. We got no idea what the abilities are.
That's the thing where I'm like, my brain's like, I want to believe that it's gonna be next week, but at the same time, we don't have raid Omicron information. We don't have any details.
That'll come out on Tuesday.
The units, we don't have any mechanics in play for anything. We just have their modifiers in play. So it's like there is so much information we don't have. I'm just like, all right, hold the phone, guys. Like, what are we doing? We just gonna make 4th of July a chaos storm for everybody? Just ship it and see what happens, and just like, oh my god, you can't be serious. Like that's absolutely asinine. So we'll see what shakes loose. I'm hoping it's here. I've done my theory crafting and my
I've seen your theory crafting. I can't wait to get in there and do a little bit of testing.
Yeah,
I know that Cyrus is doing full R9 testing across the board.
Yeah,
when the raid goes live.
I feel like for the most part though, like Separatists at Relic 9, Gungans don't have any modifiers for the tiers, so I feel like the Omicron or just in general they're gonna just destroy because of all the anti-separatists that they have in their kits.
I think so. Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about them. Queen Amidala's team, I feel like it's like gonna be figuring out who's the best 5th, because honestly, like R2D2 should be in the team. I can't see us benching R2D2.
Well, he just doesn't make any sense in any of the other teams. So
yeah,
that's
so
the
it's
thing.
Like the only things I don't have a ton of confidence in are the leftover Jedi teams, and that's because I'm
the Jedi Consular lead team.
Yeah, that's the part. I'm greatly annoyed by the fact that that's gonna probably be the 5th team everybody runs is the Jedi Consular team. With like bullshit underneath it. I'm just like, I hate this so much, but it is what it is. Like,
well, I'm going to try and build a team that doesn't involve it. I'll be honest, because I don't have any investment in Consular.
That's the part of it where I'm like, at what tier does it matter? Because like that's how I feel about the speeder bike pursuit raid. I feel like on tier 5, which is the Relic 7 tier, you get away with a lot more, like just like not caring about how the run goes and still getting like a 1.5 to 1.6. But like if you do that in the Relic 8 tier, like you got to be careful how you do those last couple of waves, because otherwise it's like, well, there goes 400, 500,000 points. So it's like, so what's going to be the kicker on this is like, if we can do it easily at R7, then it doesn't matter who's leading. You just need an R7, Galactic Republic Jedi team.
Yep.
But if you want to go beyond that, it's like, okay, well now you got to take Jedi Consular up to lead, because otherwise these benefits now become necessary to take effect, which annoys me because there's just no way to benefit most of their tags on if the leader's a healer, because there's only 2 characters that provide HOTS in the entire thing. And
one is Queen Amidala. So
yeah, the other one is only
Lumi,
one gives potency up, which is Kit Fisto. And it feels like since Lumi only has one ability on a 4-turn cooldown that grants a heal over time, it feels like you want to have Grandmaster Yoda hanging out with Lumi, because you can take the buffs and then keep reapplying them.
It feels like Lumi lead with Kit Fisto, GMY, and Cam is like a mandatory 4-man, and then you need one
Plus
more.
One. Yeah.
Preferably a support or a healer to gain extra benefits from Cam.
The thing is, though, is that the only other healer is Jedi Consular, so it would be a support.
But there's loads of good support. So
Yeah, well, Shakti or it almost pains me to say that. I think Shakti or Koth is going to be the best 5th on that team.
Anti-droid kill. Yay.
Well, it's the thing is though, is with how much offense he's getting, like some of those like increased, increased damage and increase, and the abilities are you get an ability block on the special that can't be resisted, I think, by droids. And it's for 3 turns. Like that's kind of huge in some aspects. And then the basic will do the defense down. It's guaranteed if it's a droid target, and then the anti-droid, the critical chance actually is going to be low-key helpful because his crit chance sucks as a character.
Okay.
But he gets 35% crit chance. And then if it's a droid target, he gains 25% additional critical damage. And he deals physical on that. And yeah, and he's one of those OG characters where CG gave a care about being thematically correct. So his basic is physical and his special is is special.
Okay.
Because he's using the force on his special and his lightsaber on the basic. So anyways.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like Echo does physical on his basic and special on his AoE.
Yeah, so I have Koth at Relic 8 right now.
Mine is Relic 5. I worked hard on getting him to Relic 5.
His base critical chance is 43%. So he's getting 35% for free just by being his own unique.
What's that like? Yeah, okay, yeah, fine.
So it just gives you some stuff. Shakti, the real thing with her is that she provides a level of just adding some additional buffs, and then a little bit of healing, and then the offense up, of course. But I think you're getting so much offense anyways, it's not really going to matter.
Yeah, you are gaining from the Jedi healer leadership. You're gaining a boatload of offense. So it's kind of like, do you really need? Like, what does it matter if you're gaining 10% more offense or 15 or 20 or whatever it is? It's like you're gaining so much from your max health.
Yeah.
And if you're running quite a few support types with Kiadi-Mundi, you're getting like 40 or 50% additional base health to everybody, and then 40% from him, and then you convert 40% of that to your offense, or 10% of that, sorry, to your offense. So it's like, that's a big chunk.
The Jedi Council unique gives everyone 40% max health plus 20% offense, and then they gain additional 10% offense they gain additional offense equal to 10% of their max health. But like the modifiers, that's where, like we were talking earlier in the DMs, like it's one of those things where it's like R7 is the last time the GR faction sees an actual improvement, and then R9 is the next step up in what's happening there. So it's like, where's the stopping point for these teams? Because like if you got to only average like 10 point, I think it's 10.4 if you get the average, and we don't know how hard it's going to get to that number. We're assuming max runs. You're only going to need a couple R8 teams, and then like maybe a couple R7s, and then phone one in at R5. Like, okay, well, that shouldn't be too bad for most players. I just honestly think the R9 run is like, for kicks and giggles sake, like once they pulled the crate out of it and whatever other rewards, like what's the point of investing now? Like, I'm not going to take the other
exactly. This is my bugbear about it, is if you want to introduce a Relic 9 tier, the problem was when they announced the Relic 9 tier, at the same time they announced there's going to be an additional raid reward box, right? They said we're getting a new box for rewards to coincide with the Relic 9 tier. And then they took out the new box. Now, did they take it out because they didn't want to announce what's in the new box, or did they just decide to remove the extra rewards? Because if they decided to just, let's not give them an extra 2,000 Mark III currency, then it's just kind of shitty. I'm like, I'm not going to feel good about... Like, Relic 9 is a huge investment, guys. It's hard. I've been playing for nearly 7 years. No, 7 years now. And I've got like 17 Relic 9s, and I've probably got more than most of the player base does. Even people like Karth, who is 14.2, 14.1 million GP. What have you got, like 30, 40 R9s?
I have 54, but
54.
that's even for people who are like in the bigger guilds where they're doing the higher end TB stuff. Like that's the average person's probably pushing about, and those guilds pushing about 80, but the average person in the game overall is under 10.
Well, exactly.
And 4 of those are requirements. Add rad, the 2 for the Leviathan.
So if the average player has got 10, and they're expecting people to throw minimum 5 extra Relic 9s for a raid, and not give them an additional reward box, just be like, oh, it'll be easier to hit better high rewards with a team of Relic 9s. It's like, that's a really big ask for a raid that's going away in 9 months. That's a really big ask. Like, I just can't see it.
Well, and Speeder Bike Raid actually didn't last as long either. Speeder Bike Raid was only in the game for 7 months.
Is that really all it was?
Yeah, because it didn't come out until like tail end of October, I think, last year.
Okay, so 1 month, let's say 1 month and a bit, and then 6 months. Yeah, so 7 months
and a bit.
Yeah, 8 months in total. Let's call it 8 months in total that raid was out, just below the 9 month threshold. If it was end of October, that means it got November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. 9 months, basically. Oh yeah, okay, just about scraping it for 9 months, 8 and a bit. It's like not a lot. And then this one, they want to increase the requirements, but not give us commensurate rewards. It's like, it's a really big ask. So I'm not going to do any Relic 9 teams unless I actually have to.
The only reason I have the one is because I already had Keller and Beck and Mace Windu at Relic 9 because of other projects. And
because you really like those characters. Mace is a tank.
Yes, he is. He's a really
hence the Relic 9. You did Relic 9 Keller and Beck because the datacron came out and you're like, yeah.
Well, I did that prior to even knowing that. It was just that Keller and Beck at the time had mechanics in his kit in play that give him a bonus for having more and more potency, right? Or not potency, sorry, protection. So it's like R9 gives you another like 6,000 per, So it was just maxing out the character. It wasn't necessary, but it was the reason why I did it. There are very few attackers in this game that have a benefit for going to R9, and so I was like, oh, well, that's kind of like a shoe-in, so I'll take it. And so it was good for a lot of other things that we ended up doing in the game. Made it really easy on the bow event.
I mean, like the character is never worse at Relic 9, so it's like you're always going to get an improvement. It just depends how much and what does it cost. So
yeah. So that was kind of where we ended up sitting on the whole thing, right? And so like they were already there. I didn't do them for it. The only R9 I'll probably do for the raid at this junction is R2D2, and that's because it's a net benefit to my Leia team to have it R2D2 up higher, and then I can drop Keller and Beck out of the team and put him with Jedi Consular. But I think where I sit right now, I don't plan on doing any more investment if I can get to my maxing my personal track.
Unless CG does a surprise and say, oh, new tier rewards for the Relic 9 box that incentivizes. It gives 10 droid brains and 10 Gerda keypads.
Exactly. Unless it is massive improvements to the raid structure or a raid character.
I mean, if it gives 50 tier 1, 30 tier 2, and 15 tier 3 signal data, I'll be like, let's fucking do it, boys. Let's get it. I want those Relic matters.
There's just so little in the game where it makes sense. And so that's the issue I'm seeing a lot with the current structures. Like they just have no reason for us to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the reason why they just ended up pulling it in entirety because, if you're going to...
An extra 2000 Mark III, it doesn't shake my giblets.
It doesn't really move the needle either, though, because that's an extra. What is that? That is that's equivalent to another 10 arrow magnifiers a week.
Mm-hmm.
And like for a lot of the big guilds, that's just not enticing.
It's like an extra 3.5 Gerda keypads if you wanted to spend that on your Gerda keypads. It's like, is that really worth it? No, not really. When you're like, how many Gerda keypads did I spend getting that Relic 9 team together? You're like, well, okay, 100. So which, yeah, exactly. 100 Gerda keypads, I'm getting 3, so that was 10, 20, 30, and a bit. 35, once a week. You divide that by 4, so we're talking like 10 months. Oh, wait, the raid's already gone. Didn't never recuperated my Relic 9 investment.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will end up doing the Queen Amidala team to Relic 9, and which at that point, the one that I will have, which is going to be Queen Amidala, Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon, R2-D2, and Mace.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's going to be everyone's like R9 team, and that's because they made taking Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi to Relic 9 it's marketable.
40% of the team has got additional benefits outside of that, which is actually worthwhile.
And so like, and Queen Amidala's got her reasons to put her to R9, and then everyone has, R2-D2 was an R8 requirement for Leia, and it's like, okay, so all you're really doing is bringing up Mace. He's actually a really important Galactic Republic tank, so it's like you're not punishing yourself to do those ones, but like outside of that, like I don't think anybody should take their other GR Jedi teams above R7 unless the game, like we've talked about, unless they make it super difficult, and we won't know until they give us
maybe that's what they do. Maybe they make it so incredibly difficult. The only problem is if they make it so hard for you to get equivalent rewards. To get the same rewards, you need to invest more than you did in previous raids. People are just going to be annoyed. They're going to be pissed off with CG to be like, why do I have to put in a bunch of Relic 8 teams when before I had like 1 or 2 Relic 8 teams and a bunch of Relic 5 teams and like 1 Relic 3 team. And now I need 4 Relic 8 teams and 1 Relic 9 team to just meet the same, to get no better than I was previously. People are going to be pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then if the next raid comes out and they're like, oh, yeah, you just got to, it's all Relic 9. Like, people are going to just be annoyed.
There needs to be a reason to push for it, because, like, so this is where I'm a little perturbed by why they didn't give us more characters for Padme.
Mm-hmm.
Because they gave us, when they gave us the Gungan team. Now, granted, I know people don't like the TB Amis, but when they gave us the Gungan team and you push it to Relic 9,
and
you throw the Omicron on that team basically autos every single CM you throw it at.
Does it?
The team, because Tarpals gives the shield generator 1 stack of plasma shielding every time he crits,
and he crits twice a turn.
Yeah,
he
and
hits twice.
If you're ever dazed or stunned, you cleanse it and take a bonus turn.
So that's like nice.
It's
phase 1. You get dazed every turn, basically. So it's like,
So it's like there are parts of the mechanics that in play where it's like the CG is doing at least a decent job at developing full teams and shipping them with mechanics that if you wish to take advantage of for you're not being diminished by taking advantage. Gungans still do well in the TB without the Omicron, but you have to be way more selective as to where you use them for a variety of reasons. But I mean, it's kind of where I'm a little bummed with Queen Amidala, because it's like they gave us a GAC Ami character, a TW Ami character, and then a Conquest Omicron, which is like,
it's not gonna happen. There's such a small subset of the player base that's ever going to apply that Conquest Army. I bet more people apply the Padawan I bet more people apply the Padawan Obi-Wan Omicron. That's fine. More people apply the Padawan Omicron than the Sortie one. So I'm sure that's the case. But it's still just like, it's such a limited subset of the player base that are going to be applying that Omicron that it just kind of feels weird. I'm okay with it at the end of the day, because ultimately, if an Omicron gets introduced to the game for a game mode that I'm not interested in performing better at, because I already red box every Conquest, and I already red box basically every Galactic Challenge, I'd rather save the 20 armies. So, to me, it's a net positive, but I get it.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that for the most part, it's like CG does have to do things to market to newer accounts. That has to happen.
Mm.
I get not every Omicron that comes to the game is going to be for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. I don't care. I liked their head at where they were with Gungans. They've done this before with the what was the last faction they built out for us? I can't remember now.
What, before Gungans?
Yeah.
Before Gungans. I mean, it was the new stuff for Leia.
Yeah.
No, we had Keller and Beck come. It was the Mandalorians, light side Mandos.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So with Mandos, when they built up the Mando team, they did the same thing for Paz. They gave Paz a TB Ami.
Yeah.
That really helps the Mandalorians because every time an enemy revives, you get all light side allies recover 50% health and protection,
which is nice.
Gains comp mechanics, and he ramps up his overheat faster. And there's mechanics in place, so it's like I don't mind the concept of shipping us teams and then giving us the keys to make things more viable in other game modes. I'm okay with that. But it really felt like a letdown with Queen Amidala to be like, well, here's half a team, find the other two.
Yeah,
we might come back to it. And it's like,
yeah,
all right, cool.
That's never and it's a great team when you've got Padawan Obi and Master Qui-Gon at the very least, but it doesn't feel fully complete. Now, there's people really talking about, in the chat right now, there's people talking about Relic 10. Now, I've got my own thoughts on this, but what's your thoughts on, is CG going to release Relic 10?
I would be wildly surprised
Me
if
too.
they do.
I like
if it comes this year, I would be shocked.
Yeah, there's nowhere near enough like availability for Relic 9 for them to be, hey, let's release Relic 10. I mean, I say the same thing about when Relic 9 released. Relic 9 release felt too soon after Relic 8, personally.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But, like, Relic 9 is still so inaccessible. We were talking, the average is less than 10 Relic 9s per player. And you think they're going to release Relic 10? Like, why would they release Relic 10? Like, most people have no Relic 9 characters. They're not going to release something that people don't engage with.
Is the logic? Well, there are accounts with every Relic 9. I'm like, yeah, 2.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like 4 or 5 now, but
no,
yeah.
There's 2 with everything Relic 9.
Oh, with everything Relic 9. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a few that are like they have like everything's Relic 8 plus, but the majority of their roster, all the core teams, all the core characters are Relic 9.
Yeah, yeah. And what does Relic 10 even bring? Like, if it's just the same sort of thing.
Well, that's the problem. Is they kind of screwed themselves with how they did Relic 8 and 9 in general, right?
Yeah.
Relic 8 is a huge physical damage boost to attackers, but most everybody else is kind of a useless mechanic. That's why a lot of people just stop at 7. Besides the bulk, it's not doing you any good.
Yeah.
And then Relic 9 is basically, we make you tankier. If you're tanks, we make you super tanky.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, there's a small handful of characters, like Gas is an attacker who can take advantage of that because having more protection helps him.
Yeah.
But they're few and far between as being actual useful things. There's, Galactic Legends had it baked in their kits to where their power scales with their Relic amplifier level.
Yeah.
But there are very few characters that CG has ever released where they do that. It's now coming more frequently. Jar Jar was one of them. The Omega Omicron is another one of them. Keller and Beck kind of had the same idea. The higher you go up in the Relic tiers,
the
more you get rewarded for the investment. But it's still so far away because the only droid brains we get is the basically the 10 to 20 you get a month roughly if your guild's roughly a 50% win rate and you
in TW you mean in
TW and you're above
and if your guild
million,
your guild is the high enough GP to actually earn that, which let's be honest, most guilds aren't.
Not everybody but it feels lower now. It's 300 million when it was introduced. Most guilds were like somewhere in 4, and now most guilds are somewhere at most. The bigger guilds are over 6, so it's but I mean this is a whole separate issue around I like they need to rehash, rebuild, redesign the TW reward structure and how TW works in general. That needs a complete overhaul. Yeah, droid brains need to be way more accessible. Like even I would believe Relic 10 sooner if CG put the ability to buy out 20 droid brains in a weekly shipment. But as long as that number is 5, it ain't happening. Like there's no way you can accumulate fast enough.
They've slowly been increasing the rate at which we can get to Relic 9. They have. Yeah. We're getting more and more rewards, but it's not to a point now where it feels like it's accessible for people to think about, I'll just start Relic 10ing stuff. Like, there's just way too many things and way too slow of an income for us to think about it right now.
If they don't do the backtrack they did with, like, carbonite circuit boards and bronziums that they did with past Relic 7, if they don't do the same thing for going to Relic 10, the investment isn't worth it because you're going to be 3 to 4 times the Relic materials required to take that character from R8 to R10 than it would to take like 5 characters to R8. It's like the return on investment starts to be really shitty. And so it's like, I don't mind R8ing characters because most characters get a decent boost and benefit from it. R9 is very selective. I am mostly, they're legendaries, they're tanks, or they're characters that have an ability that goes with the Relic amplifying.
One thing. We've got Whiskey Hoarder in chat here that says he bets 90% of the viewers here are in Droid Brain TW guilds and have 9 million plus GP. I disagree. I
know wholeheartedly that most of them aren't.
Yeah, everybody here that's below 9 million GP, sound off in chat. Like, I don't think the majority here, I certainly don't think 90% are above 9 million GP. Look at all the me's. There you go. Like, I don't need a poll for this. Like, it's really easy, and I'm guilty of this. It's really easy when you are above a certain threshold to you to think, oh, everybody is at least my level of investment. At least everybody's at least 11.7 million. Nope. There you go. So Mananel over here has got 0 R9s. I think we've had, out of everybody, we've probably had about 20 responses, and so far 3 or 4 are above 9 million. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe 5 or 6. But,
yeah, I mean, there's just a variety of things that, we talk about it from the game from our perspective, and there's going to be things that we don't necessarily relate to as well, but that's just how that's going to be. We can't cater for every single divergence, and a lot of these players just want to know how things are done at the end of the tunnel. I'm not saying that R10 will never happen. I do think R10 will happen. I'm expecting if R10 is going to be happening, they have to either bring with it a much easier accessibility for Relic data, signal data, as well as Relic mats, particularly in the top end of things, and that it would have to be en masse to make that realistic, like what we had with the gear update and the raids coming in. That has basically completely invalidated, Mark III Carbenti stun cuff stun guns. They are now no longer even a little bit of a crunch because you can purchase 125 of them for Mark 1 raid currency, and it's basically a non-issue. It would have to be that big of a change to getting up to, well, maybe not that big of a change, but something along that lines for Relic data to make us think about R10. It's like, there's no point in introducing R10 if maybe one person does one R10, Well, and it's just, the way they scaled the packs too. It's like to buy out R9 for most things is 150. It's like CG that's $200 has been the kind of limit of where they're going to push. And it's like, that's a lot to spend for a single character to Relic 10 if there's no real investment or return on what the hell it's going to do. Because if it's just a stat boost, it's like, cool, but does it, like, that's the problem you run into the majority of the time when it comes to Relic levels, is that you get diminishing returns the higher you push certain characters. So you get to a point where it's like, it's not worth doing. It's just like, I could do it, but it's like, unless R10 makes, JML unkillable to, GG stab, like then I ain't doing it. Like it's a complete waste of my time. Like the only way they're gonna, I honest to God think that they will abandon relic progression and they will give us another form of progression. They like they did from gear to relics, they will give us something else, because that way they can retool everything and then modify the characters accordingly. That was the problem they had with relics. The relics initially were supposed to be these, unique modifiers that gave each character, more power and presence. And then, Relic 1 to 7 came out and it's the same progression, except for, if you're a support, attacker, or tank, there was a little bit of difference. So I honestly think that that's the route they go. It's part of the reason why we haven't seen Relic 10 after Relic 9 has been the game for close to 2 years now. I think that that's where they go. They just add a different progression system, because it's
I wouldn't be surprised
to adopt, and it's going to be easier to monetize. Relics now, it's too expensive. $200 per Relic 10 is what I'm shooting from the hip on. Relic 8 was $100. Relic 9 was $150.
I was going to say $150 for Relic 9. This is if we're just looking at pure cash monetary value, nothing that you've already got in your inventory. If you wanted to go into the store and buy a Relic 9, it's $150.
And to reiterate that's just to buy the materials required to go from 8 to 9.
Yeah, not Relic 0 to Relic 9, not Gear 12 to Relic 9, just R8 to R9. That's expensive.
That's expensive. Yeah, that's very expensive. So I can't see them keep moving that needle forward. It seems like it's just it's going to push out way too many players. You only have a very small subset that's even going to want to engage with that. And the only big people that are going to do it are the big competitive guilds, because, in those situations, those relic levels matter for how their counters are playing out. For 99% of the player base, they're not going to give a care. I mean, that's where Relic 9 is at currently.
Yeah.
Unless it's a requirement for something in the game, people aren't touching it because they don't need to.
The friend that I've got that introduced me to this game in 2016, he's been playing a year longer than I have, so he's 8 years in the game. He's almost entirely free to play, and he's got 3 Relic 9s, and those are, requirements. It's Adrad, Revan, and DR, Revan and Malak. Sorry, so it's like just the requirements that you need for legendary stuff. And I imagine that there's a lot of players in the game that are in a similar boat with the number of Relic 9s that they have is bugger all. And the idea of Relic 10 is just so foreign. Like, he's got, those are the only R9s he's got. Is he going to take those characters to Relic 10? Probably not. No, like, you wouldn't take Adrad, DR, or Malak to, well, maybe Malak out of all of that. Maybe Malak you'd take to R10. But we don't know how it operates. It's just like, meh. Can't see it happening. Exactly, Slan.
Yeah.
So it's
we'll see what happens.
You made him do R9 more? Are you sure, Slan? Because I talked to him literally earlier today when I went to the wall, and he said he had 3. But maybe he's forgotten. So yeah. And Knight of Nia's got 0 R9s. Knight of Nia, I thought you had an R9 cup. So yeah, it's like, I think this is why I think R10 just feels so alien to me right now, is that it's just, R9 is not accessible. The amount of money that I've spent on the game is more than most people spend on the game, and I have only got like 17 R9s, and most of those I wouldn't consider taking to R10. So,
I mean, let's be honest, I think 10 out of your 7 R9s have been because of sub goals.
Yeah. So yeah, well, exactly. A lot of them have been because of sub goals. I have the extra backing of my following that, when they put money into this channel, they support me through subscribing on YouTube. That money goes back into the game to help accelerate the rate I get at R9s. And yes, they're stupid R9s. But most people don't have, a Twitch payout to help build their SWGoH roster, do they? So it's like,
yeah, and that's just my case in point, though. It's like there are far fewer R9 engagement in this game than I think people really let on to believe.
Yeah,
because they get 1 or 2 people that have maxed out everything. It's like, oh my god, they've hit the cap. They've got to add more, right? I'm like, no, No, they don't have to.
Yeah.
They might choose to, but honestly, I think the next thing they do is they go to their own individual thing where they actually increase the other baseline stats of the character. You get things that increase your potency, tenacity, health steal, defense penetration, those kind of stats, critical damage, which critical damage is actually already in there, to be honest with you. And so is armor pen. So it's just some of the other stuff that's not represented very well. That they could go in and modify and maybe change the make things a little bit more specific for attackers and what type of attackers they are and do a little bit more of the build up on that. But I think that's where we're headed. We're headed to another form of progression after this. They're not going to just keep giving us relic levels.
Yeah. R10 increasing speed? Yeah, absolutely. Relic 10 gives you a 5% increase in base speed.
Yeah, but you know for a God-given fact, if they do that, everybody that cannot whale at the top either will quit caring about being competitive or they will just quit in mass.
Yeah, people will be pissed about it. Yeah.
Because
the whales would be very upset because it's like, oh my God, I've got a Relic 9 everything.
Well, you got a Relic 10 everything, right?
10, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Like, think about going through your roster and picking like the fastest top like 20 characters and having to spend 15 grand to bring them to Relic 10 just so that you can be competitive with the other people who do the same shit as you. Like, that is so asinine. It would probably be my breaking point. I'd be like, well, I'm done. Like, if they did another progression system where it starts out cheaper and you do get like flat speed as part of it because they want to bring up character speed to be more competitive, fine. I can see that being a little bit different, but it has to be accessible. If they do this with the with relics like Relic 10, eat all of the buffet of penises. I would quit the game probably the same day that announcement came.
I've said this before, but like, I know we like to moan about how CG monetizes this game. It can be a little bit like, God damn, that's a lot of money for that. But when it comes to the mobile gaming market, they're really not that bad.
They're not as predatory as some of the other ones are. This is actually true. I mean, even look at how they did Home, though. That one was so much worse. But
that's worse. But that's still not that bad.
Yeah, I know.
Like there are some mobile games out there that's like, could you imagine there being like just a legendary character, and it's like, okay, it's not that you have to get these marquees unlocked. It's just if you want this character, this event comes out once a month. You can't earn any of the shards for free. If you want to earn any shards, you got to spend $50, and you'll need to do that for about a year, every month, to max out the character. Like, there's just no other way. You could spend $50 and you could slowly build it up each month, or you could spend like $5,000 and fully unlock it right now. That's how some of these mobile games are. It's like that level of predatory of not just a little bit of money, thousands of pounds. Or you can just, like spend $50 to $100 every single month. No option free to play. Like, it's just straight up. It doesn't matter how good you are, how big you are, how well you perform. It's just like, no, you can't earn this character. You just have to give us money. Like, CG's not that bad. Like,
yeah, it's just that everyone's always going to have their problems with how things are done. So it'll be what it'll be. You can't win on every front. So. But I think CG has had that point too, where they test the waters like that. I mean, that's the reason why we haven't seen those $200 packs come around very often.
Because nobody buys them apart from the hyper whales.
Yeah, but it's only on the web store, and it comes out like once or twice a year, maybe. And then a few people get them, and then that's it. Nobody really spends on purchasing them.
Whereas they could release a $19.99 Lightspeed bundle, and a third of the player base buys them.
And sell thousands of them. Yeah. I mean, honest to God, though, like that's part of the mechanic that CG's been working on for a long period of time here is getting newer players caught up through monetization. And it is incredibly lucrative for CG, and it is incredibly beneficial to the player base because it is taking out literal years of farming time and bringing them up to a viable spot. The funny part to me, though, is that, and I said this would happen the second I saw Lightspeed bundles, is it's all the other materials you don't have. The Omegas, the Zetas,
Yeah.
the Omicrons, the mods. You don't have them. And so it's like you can buy these Lightspeed bundles and they bring your roster GP up and they make some of your characters better just because the relic levels.
That's why they need to release more of those Ascension bundles. I mean,
that was pretty good.
give me that
honestly,
again.
I think they just need to figure out a way to add more Zetas into player rewards, because I feel like we don't get quite enough for newer players to even make remotely decent dents. I mean, when you have 270 characters in the game,
they'd have to front load it somehow. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, that's
so
why
it would go to new players, and then there would be a cutoff point basically. Where
well, honest to God though, they just need to make the Lightspeed bundles have the characters have everything max except for Omicrons.
I mean, that would work.
And just charge a little bit more for the pack.
Give them all the Zetas straight away.
Yeah, because it's like they're most of them have been fairly dated. There's not, or like the last Lightspeed bundle that came out, there was only one Zeta on the entire pack. It was Lumi. I was like, Lumi lead Zeta is not doing anybody any good outside of the raid. Yeah. Like that's it. That's all that's going to happen there. So it's like the hesitancy I don't quite understand, and even some of the old Zetas, like my dude, my dog. Whose feelings are you hurting giving the Bet Chewy Zeta away for free? Like, it's a Zeta that shouldn't exist in the game in the first place, let alone everything else that goes on with it. So it's like there are so many things like maybe the legendaries you don't do, but none of the legendaries were in the Lightspeed packs anyway. So what does that matter? So it's like, okay, so they still have to get some, but then they're not putting Zetas in all these useless characters or getting bogged down on unlocking characters because they, now I got to farm Zetas for 3 months before I can even use Rey fully. It's like, okay, well this sucks. Like,
yeah,
it's like you sweeten the pot, but then you pour in vinegar afterwards, and I'm like, all right, that's not how you should have done this.
Well, I mean, I love vinegar, but I get the analogy.
On my potato chips, not in anything I'm drinking.
Well, I don't know. Have you had a spicy margarita? Having a little bit of that vinegary taste in there is absolutely delicious. But I mean, we're getting sidetracked.
They're not made with vinegar. They're made with other spices.
Yeah, but you can throw in olive brine in there, and it tastes flipping phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I do.
I've just been drinking. I've been drinking all afternoon, so I've just got drinks on the brain right now.
Yeah, I'm in dry dock for about 3 months. So.
What? Why?
Personal choice.
I thought you were like the wife. No. Wife, you said she just wouldn't love me no more.
Yeah, just kind of cut loose for a little bit and not so.
So just don't make any plans to come to the UK then in the next 3 months, and that's okay.
Yeah, oh, dude, that's what I told her too. I'm like, we are gonna have to plan around this because I do not want to go to the big parties and then be like, well, I can't do anything the entire time.
Just hang out by the chips bowl, like.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. In fact, we have plenty of spice in the UK. Don't worry.
Yeah, they've got salt, and if they're feeling wild, they got pepper.
Slan, you absolutely did tell me about the time you bought cooking wine instead of normal wine when you went to Australia on a school trip, and you tried to drink it, and it was vile, but it was like €5 or something. It was.
Sounds awful.
Cooking wine is not made for drinking. It's not made for taste buds. Yeah, not at all. It's vile, in fact. So, yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time.
That's right.
But I mean, Karth, you do need to come to the UK at some point.
It's on my list of things to do.
I'm sure it's really high on your priority list. Let's be honest, but yeah. Karth's like, how do I let him down gently?
Those do be the facts.
Yeah. It's okay. I plan on trying to make it to the States next year at some point, so I'll see you then. Just make sure you're not on some sort of drink embargo at that point. I'll be very disappointed.
No, at that point, I'll be off of it.
But you might be on a new one, is what I'm saying. There could be a brand new drink embargo.
I have doubts about that, but yeah, I get your concern.
I'm never doing this again. What are you talking about?
I don't mind it. I think for the most part, it's just like stepping away for a little bit because when you start consistently doing something,
of course, yeah.
Maybe you need to pull back on the reins. So.
Plane ticket to the UK is like 5 Relic 9s. So if I do like 5 sub goals next year, I'll be able to go to the States.
Yeah, and we'll have just a plane ticket. You're gonna spend $2,000 just in traveling expenses and eating. I'll spend
$2,000 on accommodation alone without any food, or going to see anything or eating out.
And not to be like disrespectful, but I mean, it's like unless you're going to be couch surfing, and
which
you can't even guarantee that most people are going to even have a couch for you to sleep on, let alone a spare room.
It's not happening because when I'm going to the States, I'm bringing Mrs. Scribble, and Mrs. Scribble ain't doing no couch surfing. I'll tell you that for nothing.
The cost goes up exponentially. I think even when Heinze came, he raised a few grand for the entire trip. But it's like if you came to my house. I got a spare bedroom with a queen bed and everything else. You could have at it and save yourself the hotel fee, but that's going to be hard to do for a lot of people on the go. So.
Yeah, exactly. We can't all go to Karth's house, all right? So you people from the UK,
one guest at a time.
If you just rock up to Karth's house and be like, "Hi, I'm such and such. I'm in the Tribe Talks chat right now," and Karth will be like, "Who? Get the hell out of my house!"
You can sleep in the garage.
He'll be like sicking the dogs on you.
Dogs that will attack you viciously with kisses.
Oh, I want to give him a big scritch. I want to be like, oh, a good yogs. So, yeah. Slan is like, I've got 2 bedrooms. Oh, Slan, stop showing off, mate. 2 spare bedrooms.
Yeah, Nightfox and Scribble at the same time.
Oh, my days. Yeah, it's just, if you stay at Slan's house, though, you have to get accustomed to waking up at 2 in the morning with Slan with a big pool noodle there just being like, sleep. Joking, Slan. Love you, buddy. Oh, my days. Yeah, but sometime next year. And I want to, I'd like to do some traveling, but I need to save up just like, several £1,000.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
And I'll be like, hey, wifey, do you remember about that time that you wanted to get married? Well, instead, we're going to the United States. And she'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then she'll be very upset. So, is what it is. Is what it is.
Super elaborate way to propose.
Yeah. I didn't get you a ring, but I'll draw one on your finger, and we can go to the States.
Yes. So instead of doing something you want to do, we're going to do what I want to do, but we're going to call it a thing for you.
Yeah, we're going to pretend like it's... I mean, it could happen. I think I'll need to save up quite a bit of money. But we'll try. We'll see what happens. It'll be towards the end of the year. Next year. So.
Not bad.
Yeah. I mean, Bodhi, that's true. The cats will do that.
To be honest, and not to be rude, I would not be staying with people when I travel to the UK.
You don't like staying with people? Why not?
I really don't, man. I really hate it. I hate just being uncomfortable in somebody else's home. I hate being...
You wouldn't be uncomfortable here.
No, I wouldn't be, but it would be... I just don't... It's like there's so many things to get used to. It's like for me, it's easier just to have the separation. Because it's not that like we would have a problem, but
no, I don't think we would. No.
We might get rowdy. We might annoy Mrs. Scribble a little bit. We might
probably
be drunk and belligerent.
Oh, she's used to that.
So it might. I like having just a space where it's like I can break ties and like, hey man, I'll see you like in the morning kind of thing, instead of just like being loud and obnoxious. So I was like,
that's fine. Well, we'll just go out drinking in Cardiff until a certain time.
I just need to get a hotel close to where you live, or just rent a place close to where you live. And
that's fine. It's a city. There's loads of those.
Yeah.
We'd figure it out. But, yeah. Can I delete a character with Mando if they have damage immunity? OG Mando, yes. Bam, no.
Yes.
So, Bam's Whistling Birds just does loads of damage, but OG Mando can destroy people through damage immunity, unless they're immune to insta-kill.
Yeah,
So.
if they have instant defeat immunity, or in Jar Jar's case, if he exists and the shield generator is active,
Yeah.
he prevents allies from being instantly defeated.
Or if they're a galactic legend in general, or a raid boss.
Yeah, but that part's at least stayed in the kit.
Yeah. The funny thing was, is in Qui-Gon Jinn's Omicron, you can insta-kill any unit, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a GL, you can insta-kill. But if you read the Omi description, it says they can't be defeated. And I'm like, that's still... I know it's a destroy effect, but that's still a defeat. You'd think it'd be like their health can't drop below 1, rather than can't be defeated.
Well, that's probably how it's coded.
Yeah.
But it's the the way it's worded doesn't match the coding, which they occasionally do change for that sake.
It's kind of weird, right? It's like,
yeah.
You'd almost think that they couldn't even be insta-killed, but they can, and they've always been able to be insta-killed. It's kind of weird. Yeah. But yeah, you can use the disintegrate ability, or you can use annihilate versus damage immune characters. That's absolutely fine. So long as, like we said, so long as they don't have any other form of instant kill prevention, like Merrin, for example, gives instant kill immunity, or Ben Kenobi at the start of a turn in a Rey lead gives instant kill immunity in a full light side team. They can't be insta-killed. That sort of thing. That's the only sort of thing that's going to prevent it. So, yeah. You want the GG invincibility feature? I mean, yeah, get defensive Dathomir GG. It's just going to set it on defense, front wall, and then that zone's never being cleared.
That would be so cruel.
Yeah, it would just be dumb, because that would be the new meta, right? It's like the current meta with that flipping stupid... Oh, no, 4 Gungans with any random fifth still spawns the shield generator. As a whale, it irritates me.
Honest to God, it annoys me that they didn't fix that sooner, because every single person with Relic Gungans is doing it, and I'm like...
It's annoying. It's annoying. It shouldn't happen. It's like there's so much power behind that shield generator. It just, like... If you wanted it to work with 4, then code it to work with 4 and write it that way. But if you say it should have a full team of Gungans and you can do it with 4, it's annoying. It's that shouldn't happen, damn it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to summon the shield generator because you shouldn't have the 5th character there, but you can't set a 5th character without it being on defense. So it's like, they shouldn't be able to set the team because you can't set an underman team.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, so then... kind of, we understand each other, right?
Yep. So I just don't know what they were thinking when because it's been out for a while now, and I don't think they've acknowledged that bug, have they?
They did.
Oh, they did.
They fixed a different bug.
Okay.
The bug was between waves and TB. If the shield generator was defeated, it was respawning on the new wave.
Okay.
And then it was spawning whenever anybody had a summons occur. So like Bane was bringing back when the Sith Trooper came back, it was bringing back Boss's Nash shield generator.
Oh, really?
So they fixed that bug. But then when they fixed it, they caused the problem of the current one, which is that now it will summon with just Boss Nass being in the leadership position.
Gotcha.
So you can use any 5th to fill it in.
Yeah. Which is just very annoying. Very annoying. And this is actually one of the things, and this is completely separate, but just talking on the topic of Gungans. It's one of the things that annoys me about Gungans in TB is all it takes is like a moment where you're not taunting, and it's just like, mass assist the shield generator, and it's gone.
Especially with the light side modifiers, there's so much mass assisting happening on the light side. Or path.
CMs, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, and then like the later phases of the mixed zones, there's so much AoE damage. It's honestly why I said, if you get the Tarpals Omicron, it's much more tolerable. But
yeah, I'm not doing it.
It's another Omicron, and there's really no need for it. And until a guild gets to the point where they are doing all 3 phase 6 planets in the same day, I can't see it being worth your time. Like, just hard pass.
And that's gonna be a while. That's gonna be a while before we're doing that. It's very frustrating because it's like, just because the enemies inside of the TB mission have got such inflated stats, they're massive sponges, right? They take so much beating down to kill. So it means the battles in each wave get dragged out a really long time. So it's easy for them to kill your shield generator by attrition, just in general. But the fact that there's so much mass assists, like, you lose that shield generator like 1 or 2 turns where they're free to attack, it's just like gone. And then Gungans, they're just garbage without the shield generator. They just drop like flies, which I'm okay with, because with the shield generator they're nigh invincible. Like, not 100% invincible, but pretty much close to being it. So I understand why, but it's very frustrating to be like, there was this one gap going between waves where my phalanx just wasn't taunting, and they just do 2 back-to-back mass assists, and I have no shield generator anymore. It's like, goddamn. There should be like a 20 cooldown ability on Boss Nass that respawns that shield generator. Like,
I mean, they should honestly. Like, it's one of the criticisms I had with the team, and I had talked to CG about that directly. It was just like, you've put something in here that is so easily
circumvented,
worked around, circumvented, that it just doesn't make sense. Like, why doesn't Phalanx pre-taunt? Why is the taunts only if it's a hit multiple times in a row? Like, why is there not more things to circumvent people getting in on that? And I get where they're at with it, but I feel like, honest to God, it's like one of those teams where the datacron is going to be so crazy, and the extra life from Boss Nass, if we make it too crazy, they'll never get through the test.
That's gonna disappear.
And weaken the datacron. Like, don't make the team shit. Like, I feel, because that's what happens with they address that problem in the Tarpals Ami and the Phalanx Ami, right? For their respective game modes, they give you ways to massively improve how much plasma shielding you have.
Yep. And Jar Jar's Ami as well.
Jar Jar gives you 6, but it's still not a lot.
If you have Relic 9 Jar Jar.
Yeah. The max is 6. But, like, once their Omicron or their datacron goes away, it's like Bo-Katan will just mass assist the shield generator on her first turn.
And it's gone. Yeah.
And then it's gone, and then you'll kill everybody in 2 seconds later. It's like, the only reason they're sticking around is because of either the blinds or the extra frustration stacks you're getting because of the datacrons.
Yep.
And so it's
after that, the viability of Gungans is going to drop so heavily when their datacron disappears.
People will start to figure what they're good for on offense.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, they have some interesting mechanics, especially Jar Jar. Like the fact that Jar Jar can strip bonus protection.
They'll be good versus Reva. Cool. Like, in general, the death mark on basic is very useful. Like, being able to just throw out a basic with a 33% chance of throwing death mark on the weakest character if they've got 2 or more debuffs is really useful. Because almost anything that gets death marked just gets ripped through. And because it'll always target the weakest enemy, it's almost always not going to be the tank. And there are very few non-tanks that take reduced damage from percentile health effects.
Well, so I mean, there's Reva, Malgus. Well, no, Malik too.
Well, they're all tanks as well. So they're never going to get death mark unless they're the last person standing anyway. Because it's always the weakest enemy that gets the death mark.
There's very few non-tanks that have reduced percent health effects.
Yeah, and most of those are GLs.
I think Jar Jar does give that effect.
Yes. No, all the Gungans do. Yeah, all the Gungans get reduced percentile.
What does that matter? They have such small health pools.
Exactly. Like, they might as well not have that.
Yeah. I mean,
OG Kylo. OG Kylo is one of them. Hod. Absolutely. He's an attacker. I think he's an attacker. That has reduced damage. Nest is not a tank. She's a support, I want to say. Or is she an attacker?
Attacker, but she doesn't have reduced damage to percent health effects. She just gains protection up.
Yeah. So it counteracts it.
Yeah, she gains 40% bonus protection every time she's hit, which when like exposes deal like 25%, death mark is 50%. So like you're barely outpacing death mark.
Yeah.
But that's the only way you can get around it. And so she just gains so much, especially if she has massive health pools. She becomes really annoying to put down.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. I'll probably try to just take Gungans to deal with Reaver once the datacron disappears, because I'm sure they'll be fine there.
Well, I would do it after the Reva's cron is gone, because right now Inquisitors are just
they're a horrendous team right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I don't know if it's working as intended. I would consider it a bug. But GI, when he is called through the level 6 to assist, it doesn't give him 1 extra attack. It gives him 3 because of the 6 stacks of Purge. So I think
that's normal, isn't it?
Well, but it usually when a character has a chance to attack again, it should only proc once per turn. So Grand Inquisitor can attack up to 3 times on a character that has 6 Purge stacks.
Yeah.
But when it's called to assist from that ability again, he attacks 3 more times, which it could be working as intended. I think it shouldn't be that way, but
I think that sounds about right.
Because I think if you call him to mass assist in any other format, he doesn't attack the 3 times again. But I would have to go and test that in theory to find out. So I'm too lazy for it right now.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah. When's the next datacron set coming out now?
It will be with this new set of Conquest that starts
in
2 weeks.
Yeah. I thought so.
Because it's the season ends, and it's the off week. So we should get it this week. Oh my god, this next week's gonna be nuts with this. This is why I can't believe they're putting the raid out this week. Honest to God, I can't.
And 4th of July being a holiday as well.
Yeah,
a vacation. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. Fingers crossed, nothing goes wrong this week.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that it gets
nixed.
Yeah. I don't know. It blows my mind with how much stuff they're going to shove into the game this week, and they're like, it can't go wrong. And I'm like, who is in charge of your schedule? Because honestly, push the raid back 1 week. No one's going to care.
Hold up. Vin just rejoined the guild? Vin, are you still in chat, dude? When did you come back, apart from 30 minutes ago? Vin just rejoined. Hey, buddy, welcome back. Yeah. Sí, claro. Not so claro. Sí, claro. Welcome back, buddy. Happy to have you back in, bud. Banecron goes away on the 20th. We won't have 3 sets for 2 weeks. There's normally 1 week difference. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'll be kind of glad with the Bane set disappearing. I'll be more glad when the Holdocron disappears. I'm so over that resistance cron. Like, screw that, man.
Just to be clear, though, the new datacron set goes live with the update on the 2nd.
Yep.
We won't have 3 sets live
like
during GAC, but we will have 3 sets active.
Yeah.
Because it will be in before.
Will there be a week of TW? There'll be one TW?
Week of TB. It'll be the off week, TB week.
Oh, okay. Well, so, yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, I think I've got about 68 million data cache in my datacrons from the previous set. So that's okay. I'm sure I can get rid of 8 million data cache.
I mean, if you quit upgrading your current stuff.
I have. I have. I've nearly got a full set, though. I want to finish it off.
I'll finish mine off when the...
I'll finish you off as well.
But, ooh, sounds good.
Sauce.
But no, the set will go live this week, so we'll have the tail. It just won't be active in the GAC.
Yeah,
we'll be able to technically have 3 sets active for the 2nd TW this week if you are Big Whaley McGee and
can
just want to spend ass loads of crystals on getting enough.
I wail for content. So
Yeah.
new characters, absolutely. New datacrons, not so much. I invest quite a bit into my datacrons, but I'm not going to be there like wailing away on reroll mats and trying to get 25 level 9s in the first week. That's not me. That ain't me.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll do like I want like usually 15 by the time the first gag starts. But typically, like outside of the upgrade materials for Mark 2 and 3,
Yep.
I've got everything for it. Like there's no real issue with that part of it. It's just the mad sprint when Conquest opens to get to Sector 4 to start farming as fast as you can.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll be doing that.
That's usually what I do, but I plan on having like, so I spend the first week farming and I don't do anything but farm, and I go through the 200s every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then that usually lands me somewhere in the 15 range. And then, but you have to do a certain amount on the first like day of Conquest.
Okay.
Because you need to get enough. Now with the data cache cap increase, it won't be as bad, but you needed to get enough to start putting into the new cron to get your data cache cap below what you'd max out at. But now having 60 million is going to be much
makes
easier.
it so much easier. I'm so happy that they doubled that cap, because it was like unjustifiably low before. I feel it's just like 30 million is so hard to work around.
It was fine when dusting datacrons netted you 2.5 instead of 4.5. So it was fine at that time. But when they increased it, then you've got this mad rush to like go through 60 million data cache so that you could have 30 when everything force dusted and you weren't behind the ball anymore. But it's just so much extra. You got to go through. I think the first day of Conquest, when it opens up before my first refresh, I'll probably go through the 200s and then go through the 200s again, even into the 400s, whatever it takes to get to Sector 4 on the first day.
On the first day, you'll probably need at least the 200s at the very least, if you're talking day one. Because that's a lot of battles. There's 22 battles per sector. So to get to the end of Sector 4, you're talking what? 44 times 88 battles.
Yeah.
And that's if you one-tap everything. I'm sure you will one-tap everything, but 44 battles, and then that's before you've even thought about farming the bonus node.
That's really difficult to do on day one, because you're just blowing through all your good stuff, and so it becomes the fringe teams you can utilize become data disk dependent.
Yeah, it's 880 energy. That is.
Yeah,
it's quite a bit.
A little bit, just a little bit.
A little bit. So, did you preload your energy this time then?
Oh no, I don't. I never do it.
No, just throw money at the problem. It's fine.
Well, so it's a new datacron set, so I'm gonna buy the plus pass anyways, because I need the increased stamina regeneration just to make getting through a little more tolerable.
Yeah.
But I have never at this point seen the benefit of not having those datacron materials and zeroing out than having them, or say having the energy.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's where I sit on it. I would rather have those extra 50 to 100 materials than hoard up an extra 200 energy.
Yeah. I think, Garth, that we should probably look at some Tribe Talks questions.
Oh, yeah, because there's a lot of them. Many of them.
There is a few of them. There's one or two. You asked me to purge, but I was out. So, screw that. Okay, so first question comes from Mr. Zoidberg. If the new raid gives rewards other than currency, e.g. character shards, do you like the idea of having it tied to guild rewards, individual rewards, or both? What do you think, Garth?
I mean, if they were gonna do it, I would be happier if they were tied to the individual reward track instead of the guild reward track, because I feel like if you are a go-getter raid performer and the other half of your guild is doing the bare minimum, why should you be punished because 49 other players aren't going to do 2R19 for the new raid?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm actually in agreement with you. I think if they want to do a reward track like that, it should be individual because that encourages everybody to get involved.
Yeah, and
whereas
the guild net benefits, right?
Yeah,
because
the guild net benefits anyway. Agreed.
Yeah, if you max if we're assuming it's the same, you need like 12 million something to max out the personal track, which is already 2 million more than the average required to max out the guild. It's like you're still gonna max the guild, and then you're gonna get those extra shards. So it's like, unless they're dicks and they do like every tier gives you 1 shard, and then max gives you like 20, then okay, yeah, they can eat a dick on that one. But the last tier should have a substantial boost. It just shouldn't be like 50% of the shards you collect for each raid.
Yeah. The personal reward track it feels kind of light at the moment, but hey.
Yeah, I mean it's like an extra like 1,000 Mark III currency for the week, which is not nothing, but it's not like
it's when you look at the I think if you're earning the top end guild reward, which would kind of align to if you're earning 1,000 Mark III from the personal reward track, you're looking at like 1/8, aren't you? Of what you get from the raid. If you get like 8k or something like that, aren't you, from Max Box currently? Is that right?
8,770.
Yeah. So you're getting
just over 10%.
Yeah, just over 10%. That it's not nothing. Agreed, it's not nothing, but it's not like you're getting 40% or 50% of what you're doing for the guild. So.
No. But if they were going to do a raid character, I would prefer it to be on the individual track instead of guild.
So would I. I would be more inclined to push for it that way.
Because I think you would just see players start leaving smaller guilds, and I think that causes too much problems.
Agreed. You would. You'd definitely see players leaving smaller guilds. Because they'd all be trying to join guilds that people are basically max boxing immediately.
Yeah.
And it causes division in the ranks. So, yeah, personal rewards, definitely. So, next question comes from Lofia, and it's a question around GL Ahsoka requirements, saying, do you think we're going to get the 2 new Inquisitors as part of our requirements, being the one from Tales of the Jedi and Marok?
Marok, probably. I don't know if he'll be a requirement for Ahsoka. That part would surprise me. The one from Tales of the Jedi, I find unlikely. He has a very short lifespan in the show. And he does come back in Tales of the Empire for a little bit more of a show, but I think that one's kind of too far off the beaten path. I don't think Inquisitors really want more to work with because we don't really have 2 leads. Let's be honest. Reva takes GI if you want the best team.
Yeah, so, and it only leaves 2.
2, yeah.
Two out there in the open, so you need 3 new Inquisitors.
3 new ones, but then you would still need a new
really good lead. Yeah,
that's going to be worth, being on its own and not being put under Reva, because the way the mechanics work are really good. Merrick, I can easily see because he is definitely held together by Night Sister magic, and that's an easy one to put under Morgan. So I could see that one easily getting introduced and providing a team for
I don't think we get Marok as part of Ahsoka release.
Not part of the requirements, no. I think we'll get him throughout the rest of the year, though.
We might get him at some point, but not as a requirement. Because we already talked about. We both think you're probably going to need 4 new marquees for Ahsoka, and they've already announced Night Trooper. I don't think they're going to push out 6 marquees for a GL. That seems very heavy.
I suspect we're going to be 5 marquees and really high relic requirements for this one, but. My guess is that Ahsoka's coming first. They're going to push her team out. They're going to get a couple of the other things, groundwork going, and then they'll push out the remaining marquees leading into some sort of event to bring out, either Balin or whatever else, and those characters will be required for that. But I can't see Thrawn just being legendary. So
no, neither can I. No.
Balin might be a good shout for that, or Captain Pelion. But one of the Marok, I could see Marok coming, but not as a requirement. The other guy who I can't even remember his name of, I don't see him coming at all, and I don't see him being a requirement either.
Okay. So, next question then comes from Burrito Conductor. He conducts burritos. What animation do you want to see for the new GL? Think of the Force choke with Lord Vader, the rank. Oh, Ultimate. Ultimate. What do you think the new Ultimate would be for GL Ahsoka?
Oh man, I feel like she's gonna be, unfortunately, like JML and C. She's gonna have a transformation.
Okay.
Ultimate.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. Everything else just seems incredibly hard to animate. Like people like space whales, and I'm like,
No.
No.
Calls in a space whale to eat 2 of the enemy team. Like,
just grabs the target and whisks them off to uncharted space.
It could operate like the crate dragon in the raid, so it'll hold one of the characters hostages for like 10 turns or something.
Yeah,
it'll spit him back out.
Yeah, I feel like with where because that was the thing with Jabba, right? Everyone kept thinking, well, a GL with an instant defeat, that's going to become too powerful. How do you walk back from that? And they did a good job with that with Leia. So I think they'll do the same thing. Mm-hmm. They'll do that does a lot of damage. Probably a new buff that she's going to inflict that's going to cause a lot of problems, or debuff either way, and then a lot of damage. But I can't see them doing anything too wild and crazy with her. Her ultimate.
I reckon they'll do a stance pose and it'll be like an I'm no Jedi thing. They'll do the Ahsoka iconic lightsaber ignition where she gets both of them and goes, and then she'll have a locked frenzy with like 100% offense or something. So every single special, she just like takes a bonus turn and takes a bonus turn and takes a bonus turn and takes a bonus turn.
or give her locked frenzy and then give her the Malicos unique that allows her to assist her allies
on all special attacks.
On all special attacks. Oh my god, that would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. But yeah, I don't see anything like super cinematic happening. I would assume it's gonna be.
She doesn't do anything like big and flashy as like a one big thing, right? It would have to be some sort of buff, or like you said, a transformation or whatever.
Yeah, so, that would be my guess.
You know, maybe she starts the battle and it's her in the white robes with that staff that she's got, and then she goes into ultimate, she throws off the robe and pulls out her lightsabers and, goes crazy. Or maybe she gets Talzin's sword, like she does in the thing. So she's got, one normal lightsaber and Talzin's sword. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. It should be cool. Yep. Knight of Ni is asking, what do you think will happen for the next capital ship? I don't think it happens this year. Oh, New Republic. Okay.
I don't
Definitely
know.
Not this year then.
Yeah, I think New Republic will be the way they go.
Mm-hmm.
There are just way too many, like. They've missed so many opportunities now to do anything with like the Separatist fleet, with the Naboo stuff, and we're rolling into a GL, which means we won't really see the next thing until next quarter. And if they're going to continue down the path of Ahsoka content, which is where I think they'll be headed, we'll know more when the next Conquest unit drops, as to where they're leaning in towards.
Well, we said that with Luthen as well.
Well, but it did tell us.
It told us. Not right now.
Yeah, it told us no capital ship right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it did give us information, but yeah, I think New Republic makes kind of the most sense, especially if they want to keep things thematic with what's being released. Mm-hmm. We can get some New Republic X-wings. We can get some. We get the E-wing for sure. There's a couple other things they could go from to pull into the game. So I think that's the next place they go. It's a light side capital ship. That was the problem with everybody spitting out the dark side stuff, is that we typically go back and forth.
That being said, we're getting back-to-back light side GLs.
Yeah, I know. It's not that we can't break the rule. It's just
it's the exception, not the rule, right? It's like most of the time it follows that cadence. So.
Well, because if it had been Thrawn, I would have been more disappointed, because Thrawn needs way more development to be a GL, in my opinion. From where
I think so too. Yeah.
Ahsoka, you could maybe make.
He's done plenty of cool stuff, but most of it, most people aren't going to be aware of. So.
Yeah. So I don't. But that's where my head would go for the next capital ship. I think New Republic, and then we get an Imperial Remnant fleet to correspond with it. But I think that gets them an easy framework to put out a lot of content that gives them like plenty to do for the next year and a half versus being like finding other stuff. So, anyways.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's good business. I'm not sure. I don't know if I agree, but at the moment we're throwing darts and a dartboard in the dark. At the moment, we don't know what's going to happen because there's no indication. So. Next question then. So Pliskin says, for a mid-game account, almost 6 mil GP in a guild that's hitting box 3 in the speeder bike raid, 160 mil GP in total, which team would you recommend going all in to help with the Naboo raid? Gungans or Queen Amidala? You have all the Gungans at 5 stars, Padawan Obi-Wan at 5 stars, and Queenie's only 90 shards. Well, you can't really go all in on Queen Amidala if you've only got 90 shards. So that kind of answers that question. Yeah, I mean, it's Gungans, man. It's just Gungans.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, for the raid, I mean, Gungans you're definitely right. But with that new assault battle, man, that is.
I'm not arguing that, but if you've got 90 shards of Queen Amidala, you're only getting 30 shards Conquest right now.
Now.
Yeah,
at this point, you've missed the train. Like at this point, go Gungans because you're too far behind on everything else. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to bring it to the Poncho Bros.
Absolutely not. They're a great investment.
Yeah, but for the team wise, I can't. It is highly possible that you could do reasonably well in the raid with Jedi Consular lead with the Poncho Bros, and until you get Queen Amidala. That is a possibility. I won't roll that out. But at the same time, if you want to do the most bang for your buck in the raid right now, I'm just going to assume Gungans are going to be your bread and butter for that.
We're in agreement. Think it's Gungans. But absolutely, Qui-Gon Jinn and Padawan Obi-Wan, their assault battle is actually one of the best, probably the best assault battle in the game to invest in.
20 million credits, man. That's huge.
Unless you're one of those weird folk that's like, I've got 1 billion credits. I spend them all the time.
Those
are
people that don't buy mods. They don't remod their rosters frequently. They don't switch mods for raids. Like it's those players who have 1 billion credits, or they haven't upgraded things in their roster intentionally. They have like a whole slew of level 1s because they refuse to do certain things.
My credits right now have never been high. Well, that's not true. They have been higher, but it's the highest it's been in a long time. I think I've got like 50 million credits, and I'm like, I'm rich.
I got to run the event, the assault battle 3 times.
Nice.
It reset at my reset time, and
that's like nearly 90 million credits in itself.
Yeah, it was resetting at my reset time and not at 12 midnight. So not their midnight. So I got to run it. My reset happened 6 hours before it went away. So I was like, oh well, I'm doing it again.
I'm doing it again. Yeah, don't blame you.
That was great. Knights of Knee had a quality life question before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, Knights of Knee. When do you think CG will start letting the TB reports be online for a day? Oh, right. Okay, so like a review period at the end of TB. I agree with you, Knight of Knee. It like back when I was an officer, it used to be very frustrating that as soon as a TB ends, it disappears and you can't actually go back and look. It would be really nice if you had a 24-hour cooldown period where you could just review what happened each phase, what happened, who failed what battles, who failed what CMs and SMs and all that sort of business, and you could just look and plan. I don't think it's ever going to change. Well, maybe it will eventually, but I think it's going to take some time.
Do exist to a degree in hot utils, but not in the game, and I understand that. But you can't access the information in hot utils if you are desperate to know and need to find out about it. Then the information's available just through a third-party source. So that's unfortunate. I don't think they'll add it because I think it throws off their schedule to run it for an extra day. Just for review purposes. So I don't see that changing, but the information is available. It's just not in the game. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah,
just it's fair. Like right now, I don't care about TB, but I'm no longer an officer or a leader, so I'm just like, it's fine. We'll just move on. We'll just keep on improving in TB over time. Okay, so next question then comes from Lotto. Do we think that Thrawn, OG Thrawn, will get some sort of lifter unit before his GL upgrade comes out, or do you think he'll be? They're asking, is Thrawn going to be used in the new GL team? I think is the answer. I wouldn't be surprised, but
I think what they're saying is he going to have some sort of pair like Maul was with Lord Vader prior to his release as a GL?
No, I don't think so.
I think they'll bring out Captain Pelion. I don't think he'll be.
But that's not a lifter unit. That's just going to be a marquee unit. But by definition, you can't have a lifter unit that comes out before the unit is out. It's just that's a character. Like Maul is a lifter unit for Lord Vader because he came out after. Same thing for Kat. Sure, she was released before JMK came out, but she wasn't available for anybody until after. No, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Kat was there in Conquest before JMK came out. He came out in the middle of it. So he was useless for not useless. He was gimped for a month or so until people got Kat. And then he was the best GL we've ever seen.
The thing is with those in particular is that the JMK and Lord Vader teams were designed with a unit in mind, whereas Rey got Ben Solo added back to her and covered up problems she was having. So I wouldn't really call Kat or Maul lifter units per se, because they were just designed to be a core part of the team, the same way Bausch is designed to be a core part of the Hutt Cartel team, but we don't think of her in the same fashion.
I've had people claim to me that Bausch is a lifter for Jabba. I'm like, no, she's part of the team. She doesn't go anywhere else. She has you don't put her anywhere else.
She has a super powerful unique where you can't assist until 3 turns, and so it's like that shuts down so many teams that it's going to cause problems. But that's there are plenty of other characters that do similar things that aren't under GLs. So.
But yeah, if Thrawn is the next GL, which seems the most likely, I don't think he'll get a lifter before. I mean, that doesn't make sense. He'll get new units. And then maybe afterwards he will get a lifter unit, but typically they've not done that. They didn't do that for Jabba. They didn't do that for Leia. They didn't get lifter units, as it were. Historically, we get lifter units for older characters, like we had Ben come out for Rey, and then we had Bane come out supposedly for C. They just kind of screwed the pooch with that by making Bane just so damn good and then giving him a ridiculous datacron. Who knows? We might get something for JML that is a dedicated lifter unit. You can half claim that Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is a lifter unit for JML. It's a bit iffy, but hey, we'll see.
And right now, honestly, the reason why he's with JML so much though is because of the massive boost to the inherited teachings attack, right?
Oh yeah, being able to do that and attack under protection, is so good.
But that's the massive reason why he's there. Otherwise, you wouldn't really need to run him. That you'd be back to splitting your JML teams up again, because you could use Bass to the lead with Cal and go beat Malgus to death every day of the week. So
you think they were meaning the current Thrawn will get a lifter before GL? No, that they've never released a lifter unit for a character that does not lead any team. Thrawn is not a leadership for anything apart from a niche counter to Jabba. Like, that's the only time he's ever in the lead. They're not going to be like, yeah, we're going to build a new Thrawns, but first we're going to give a lifter unit for a team that nobody uses, or very few people use. It's just not going to happen. They won't bring out a lifter unit for an older version of Thrawn and then bring out a GL and be like, look at this new Thrawn. Like, Thrawn mostly gets thrown in with, like, Lord Vader. Maybe he gets thrown in an EP Darth Vader team for people that don't have Starkiller. It's like, he's good to have. Maybe he gets thrown in with C. But nobody is running Thrawn lead outside of that niche Mandalorian team. Mandalorian/Empire counter to Jabba. And even that does not get widely used. So I don't think they bring a lifter out for that. That's my take. I mean, I don't know if you disagree, Garth, but I mean,
I don't think they would do anything for the OG Thrawn at all.
No,
that would change his team.
They might change Thrawn's kit. They might do something different if they expect OG Thrawn to be in new Thrawn's team. Because you look at someone like GK. GK goes under JMK, so it's not like you can't have GL teams with older versions of themselves. Like, that can happen, but They would only change the kit
but
if it benefited it. You know.
I think Thrawn will be leading a brand new faction. He won't have Empire tags. He will have either Imperial Remnant or something.
I think so too. Or
I don't see him dipping into the Empire
well,
faction.
What would be really freaking cool if they did like Chiss Ascendancy, but they're not going to because it's not the right time. It's like timeline wise.
Well,
he's not really doing. He's not part of the Chiss Ascendancy. I mean, I know he's supposedly trying to build up allies. That's why he's in the Empire in the first place, and he's trying to build a relationship between the Empire and the Chiss Ascendancy to help the Chiss Ascendancy with the war in the Unknown Regions. Right? Isn't that kind of why he's joined the Empire in the first place?
It's part of it. There's it depends on where you're drawing your
Oh, what, from the old series or the new series of books?
EU versus what's canon. So that's it. I don't remember which is which at the moment, so I don't have enough to speak.
And I've been drinking all afternoon, so I don't know.
So
because I've read both. I've read both series. I can't remember at this point.
So the next question.
So the next question. Let me pop that up real quick. Let me get it up for you, Kath. So Hod has a 4-point. Jesus Christ, Hod 4-point question. Hello there, says Hod. Only answer one if it's allowed, and correct to this greeting. I hope you're all having a fantastic, lovely evening. Oh, thank you. Been in an amusement park today, so my questions are surrounding that topic, really. What's my favorite carousel ride? Do you like to ride fast ones or slow ones? When I'm in an amusement park, I go for the roller coasters. I like fast, adrenaline-thrilled rides. How about you, Kath?
About the same. Unless I'm feeling fat and lazy, then give me that those teacup spinners.
Wouldn't that make you throw up going around in circles? I don't know.
Only if I ate beforehand. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Plan it proper.
Speaking of which, second part of the question is, what is your favorite carnival/amusement park snack?
Usually they're corn dogs.
I've never had a corn dog.
It's just a hot dog deep fried in batter.
I've had a battered hot dog.
It's similar to that.
They sell them in the UK in fish and chip shops. We call them chippies.
So it's very similar to that, especially the ones that they do at the fair, because the ones that are like pre-made, like you can buy from the grocery store, they don't hit the same way.
Okay.
But the ones from the amusement parks, they are.
The only thing, like for me, like at an amusement park or a carnival, the only thing that we'd have is candy floss. Like that's like the only place that you have candy floss. So that's the only snack that I associate with amusement parks.
I'll translate that for everybody else who's American.
Cotton candy.
Cotton candy.
yeah, cotton candy. Yeah, that's the only thing. Like literally, when I think of an amusement park, that's the only thing. And I don't even like them that much. It's literally just sugar. Like
yes.
And then there's the same thing for food, but I mean, I don't go to an amusement park for food.
All of amusement park food is snack food. You can't convince me otherwise.
Hot dogs and popcorn and cotton candy. Yeah, maybe toffee apples or something.
It's not what I would consider.
Okay, so this one's slightly different, but what is your all-time number one favorite food?
Steak.
Steak is really good. I'm not sure what mine is. Mine might be lasagna as my one-time number one favorite thing. If I was to have any meal, maybe like a proper homemade lasagna is just amazing. If not, maybe a chili con carne, maybe like a Tex-Mex platter, but who knows? Okay, so next question then comes from Bodhi, and it's the last question in the chat. With Dadboard Thrawn almost certainly next year's GL, does this mean that we're going to run out of GL-worthy characters? No. Seems like they have finished mining the films and there really aren't any other TV series. Is this the beginning of the end for Galactic Legends? I don't think so. There's way too much external content that they can drag from.
They've already gone on the road of they're not shy of bringing in Legends content as part of the fill that, and there is a ton of stuff in the Old Republic that would be GL worthy. You could do Revan Reborn, you could do Darth Tenebrae. Well, that would be Valkorians is the one that we see him as. You do see him briefly as Darth Vitiate, but he wouldn't be quite the same team at that.
This is the SWGoH
SWGoH
villain
game,
I don't know because I've not played it, so.
He's the villain.
Right.
He's like the Sith Lord that's ruled for like 1,000 years, something like that. He's
just for a minute.
He could be he could be a good galactic legend. Revan Reborn could be a good galactic legend. There are quite a few, depending on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. There's quite a few that we could come up with in Legends content, and even in the extended stuff. If they want to bring in for Star Wars some of the EU stuff back into canon, which that sounds like they're going to. It sounds like the new Rey movie might be.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Was we're
Avalon.
literally going to get a new Jedi Order film series. That like the first thing I saw it earlier today. In fact, is that they were saying that Abeloth is supposedly the villain. Like, there's a dark side GL.
Yeah. Something that should be more powerful than a GL, but I get you.
Well, maybe we get a level above, but hey.
Maybe we do. But yeah, there are things that are still coming around the corner. I mean, in GLs at this point seem relatively ambiguous as to what they want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like you could have a new Malgus be a GL with the latest iteration of him, Malgus Reborn, who's held together by ancient technology now after he got Palpatined when you first defeat him. So there's just a few things where it's like, okay, it's not as limited as we think. It's just that CG has been on a track record for the last few years now to follow the content that's being released in the shows. But we are heading to the end of that. So I think at the worst of it, we're just going to be at a divergence where we just go somewhere else once that's kind of dried up. But I don't think it's the end of GLs by any measure.
No, I don't think. I think there's loads of content that they can go, and it's not like they're not making any new TV series and movies. It like there's content slated for time immemorial. Like, and not only that, but I know Home was a failed project, but one of the things that Home did was a what if.
Oh yeah.
And there's nothing stopping Galaxy of Heroes doing what if legends. Like, what if Darth Vader never turned to the dark side and we get a galactic legend light side Anakin Skywalker? I
think Lucasfilm will put a stop to that, but
we don't know, do we? Like, there's a chance that it could because it's all part of Disney. There's a what if series of the MCU, right?
Yeah.
They've played with the idea with a what if series of Star Wars. So if that ever comes out and they start doing some of these things, like, what if Darth Vader redeemed himself? So he had the fight with Anakin, things went wrong, but redeemed himself quickly and turned light side before Luke and stuff like that. There's we get a dark side Luke, or there's loads of options that they could do where we get what if variants. So
I for me personally, if this game went down the what if variant, I think I'd probably be done with the game. But that's just not a personal take on the position. But it does remind me of an animated short I saw today.
Oh yeah.
Of like Obi-Wan, like the Obi-Wan and Anakin, like lead like the events of Revenge of the Sith. Anyways, like it's Anakin brings a gun to the Battle of Mustafar and shoots Kenobi.
Yeah.
And Kenobi's like, "Oh, well that hurts. Let me just force heal real quick." And he's like, "Force heal? What do you mean force heal?" It's like, "Yeah, I use the Force and I heal myself from like deadly damage."
He's like, "Oh no!"
He's like, "That's the whole reason I joined the dark side." He's like, "Can I switch sides?" It's like, "No, you murdered a bunch of children." He's like, only a couple."
It was only, they weren't very promising prospects anyway.
It was the clones. They did all the work. I promise. I was just there. But yeah, that made me giggle when I saw that. But then the what if made me think of it. But I personally don't really care for that theory, but I mean, it's still an open option. There's something that says that they can't do anything like that for their own benefit. I would be surprised if they did go down that road.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying, like, if they ever got to that point where they're completely dry of ideas, there's always that break in case of emergency glass box. But there's so much in Star Wars extended lore available to them that I can't see them ever just being like, yeah, we just don't have any idea what to make for a new galactic legend.
Yeah, that part is where I would, I can't ever see them running out of content. They just might have to go a little bit more off the beaten path. But I mean, we still got, we're doing 1 GL a year, which is kind of their mantra at this point. I mean, we've got the next 2 sorted, so there's 24 and 25 done. By the time 26 is around, there'll be something else.
There'll be something else. Yeah, we'll have some new content, some new film, some new TV series that they're like, actually, this is a really good GL character. So who knows? Who knows? I don't think we have any more questions. Let me go ahead. Yeah, that is the end of the Tribe Talks questions. Amazing. Cool. It's been real. It's been fun. And I guess we get to have the excitement next week of the raid going live. You know, when we figure out what's actually in the raid and what actually is the raid army, and you know how the battles go, and you know if they reintroduce that new box of rewards,
or do something, or put more in the personal, make the personal track bigger, and put more in there. I don't know.
Who knows?
Until we can play it, until we can test it, until we can do anything with it, I'm just like, all right, well, I've done as much thinking on it as I can. So until that's over, until it's here, whatever.
Yeah. Fair. All right, cool. We'll wrap this up here, and I'll find somebody to raid into. Thanks, Garth. It's been real. We were short of Wolfie, but we'll let him off this one time. We'll let him off just this once.
I mean, he kind of had something vaguely important, if I remember correctly. So, you know, I'll let it slide.
Look, man, all I'll say is that it was also my mother's birthday today. I'm still here. I'm joking, Wolfie. I'm joking. Mine was different.
But in his defense, this started at 3:00 in the afternoon from him, not 10:00 at night.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I should have just started this like 6 hours later, and we could have got it done. I'm only joking anyway. Of course, family is more important than Tribe Talks, guys. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to send you over to Calvin because he's going to start his GAC attacks, and I'll see you tomorrow for my GAC attacks. Make sure you be there, or be a rectangular thung, I think would be the appropriate thing to say here. And we'll see you all very soon. Big love, y'all. Big love.